It being 5 o'clock, the Lafourche Parish Council meeting of August 22nd, 2017 is hereby called to order. Can we get a roll call, please?
Mr. Jones. Here. Ms. Sposito. Here. Mr. Groh is on his way. He's running a little late. Mr. Melvin.
Here.
Mr. Bourgeois.
Here.
Mr. Paralou.
Here.
Mr. Otan.
Here.
Mr. Jones. Mr. Lafont.
Here.
Mr. Lorraine.
Here.
Mr. Cantrell.
If everyone please rise, the invocation will be led by Mr. Bourgeois, followed by the pledge led by Mr. Otan.
Heavenly Father, we ask you watch over us and give us the guidance to make the right decisions in all that we do. We also ask that you care for the people in Ohio as they try to recover from the court-based shooting that happened earlier today. We also ask you keep a special eye on all those serving abroad on behalf of our country. In Christ's name we pray.
Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I broke my shoes like that. I'm so disappointed.
All right, first order of business in Section A, approval of the minutes. Number one, can we get a motion to accept the minutes from August 8th, 2017 regular session? Moved by Mr. Otan, second by Mr. Bourgeois. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 8-0-1. All right, at this point, it's been requested that we deviate from the agenda. Mrs. Sposito.
Number 33.
Actually, I believe the parish president is prepared to do number 32 first. Is that correct? Okay, at this point, we'll go to Section G, proclamations, and turn it over to number 32, Parish President James Cantrell to present a proclamation honoring Mr. Jim Boulay.
Thank you, Chairman Paralou. I'll read this on the parish president's behalf. Whereas National Humanitarian Day was celebrated on August 19, 2017, in honor of the worldwide community that advocates for the safety, security, survival, and dignity of people affected by crisis. Humanitarians have a deep concern for and work to help improve the welfare and happiness of others. And whereas Mr. Jim Boulay, a lifelong citizen, family man, and businessman of Lafourche Parish, advocates for the most basic needs of our fellow citizens by donating food to those that are afflicted with hunger. And whereas Mr. Boulay has worked with local volunteers and organizations such as church groups, high schools, colleges, and nonprofits for the past 5 years to provide fresh produce to the Second Harvest Food Bank on behalf of local area parishes. And whereas the mission of Mr. Boulay is to increase advocacy and awareness for the fight against hunger, so that others can volunteer or start their own cause to give back to their fellow neighbors to ultimately save lives. And whereas public support and increased advocacy will offer more families, and especially children, the opportunity to grow and learn, since there has been a direct correlation between educational performance and nutrition. Now, therefore, James Cantrell, President of the Parish of Lafourche, State of Louisiana, will hereby honor Mr. Jim Boulay for his extraordinary humanitarian service in the fight against world hunger. In witness thereof, he sets his signature and has caused to be affixed with the official seal of the Parish of Lafourche, State of Louisiana, on this 22nd day of August, 2017.
Congratulations, sir, and thank you for all the great things you're doing. Next section is H, presentations and/or updates, and Mrs. Sposito, you want to continue on this path? Am I correct?
Right, number 33.
Okay, we'll have a presentation from the Bayou, how you say that, Chauvrille
Chevelle.
Task Force.
Chever. Chever.
White button.
Chever means deer in French. So you got your French lesson for tonight. Deer.
The two-legged or the four-legged?
Four-legged.
Okay.
I'm not sure if we have the presentation loaded or not, but I am Dennis Email, Senior Project Manager with T. Baker Smith. Good evening, Mr. President, Mr. Chairman, members of the council. We do have a presentation, but before we go through it, I would invite Parish President Timmy Roussel, St. James Parish, to say a few words before we get started.
I'd like to say thank you all very much, Mr. Chairman, Ms. Vice Chairman. Spent some time with Ms. Lucy, of course, in quite a few meetings. And council, I want to say thank you all very much for allowing us to be here, welcoming us here, and giving us the floor. Mr. President, same to you, sir. We embarked on this issue probably 2 years now. We've been working on a Highway 20 widening project. We met with DOTD various times. The task force met basically monthly, and St. James Parish invested quite a few dollars. Y'all gonna see the statistics in a few minutes on how much money we putting up towards developmental costs to make that road safer, not only for St. James Parish residents, and we do have a lot of our residents, our students coming over to Nichols, but we know we have a lot of residents from Lafourche and Terrebonne finding jobs at our local industries in the river parishes. In fact, for our residents to get on Highway 20 in the Vacherie area is a task with the lack of red lights, and y'all all know that probably because y'all been there. But I want to say thank y'all for this opportunity for us to do this short presentation. Thank y'all.
And real quickly, let the record show that Councilman Grow entered the meeting at 5:06 p.m. Welcome, sir. Go ahead.
My name's Ed Becknell. I'm the chairman of the Bayou Chauvrille LA 20 Task Force. So I'd like to, again, thank the Parish Council, Parish President for having us here tonight. Special thanks to Ms. Lucy Sposito, who's also a member of our task force. So she's been involved in our meetings for the last year to 15 months, I guess. So one thing I'd like to stress, and we can't stress enough about this section of highway, it's a death trap. You're going to see statistics where the fatalities along this section of highway are 3 times the state average. And then when you look at all other statistics that are measured, we're multiples of what the state average is. So this section of highway really needs, something needs to be done to bring it up to safety standards. And if you just think about this, if you've ever traveled that road, if an accident happens, if you're involved, you have a choice of going in a canal or going in a swamp hitting trees. And just imagine a school bus load of kids having an accident on that highway and how catastrophic that could be. So this effort was born out of a need to bring this highway up to safety standards. There was a double fatality on that highway that started this effort, a resident from Lafourche and a resident from St. James Parish. So we're hopeful tonight that we can impress upon you the significance of this and that you'll be able to find the value in it and join with us as we move forward to bring this highway up to safety standards. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ed. And I promise we won't play musical chairs all night, but I would like to recognize some of the other members here. We have Blaise Gravois, who's the Public Works Director for St. James Parish. We have Councilman Eddie Kramer, the 7th District. That's the southern part of the parish in South Vacherie. We have Randy Becknell, Task Force member, and we have Mr. Gerald Fagu, who is also a Task Force member. So,
Welcome to all of you, gentlemen. Thank you for being here.
So we'll go through this presentation fairly quickly here. We've already had our introductions. We'll talk a little bit about the project and route history, future projections, what's happening out there now, talk about how we've got to the point in the project where we are right now, and talk about what we're doing in the future. Of course, talk about some costs and some funding, and open it up to questions or discussion after. So as Mr. Ed said, the task force was created in response to a double fatality of 2 local residents on Highway 20. Mission is to improve road safety. It has 14 members. I think this is a little old. It may have grown to about 20 now, but we have Troop C, we have state legislators, parish elected officials, local businessmen, attorneys, and community industry leaders. All right, I won't go through all of these, but since 2008, the traffic has increased 56% on the route. The ADT value is now over 10,000 vehicles a day. The heavy vehicles, which is your big trucks, there's a large percentage of large vehicles on the route due to the sugarcane harvest. The mills along the river have closed, so now a lot of the cane is being brought to Raceland and Lafourche, and consequently, the raw sugar is actually being transported back to the river to go to LSR. So you have a lot of heavy vehicles there. As mentioned, the fatality rate's 3 times the state average, and there's an existing state project ongoing to replace the bridge over Bayou Chauffeur, which is the big bridge on the route, if you've ever traveled it. I didn't mention at the beginning, but this project that we are talking about tonight is a state project. We'll get to how we got to that point, but it is a state project that we're undertaking. There was an RSA, which is a road safety assessment, done in 2016. This is really the first step that you have to go through to get a safety project going. You can see some of the statistics there, but side swipes head on, rear end, right turn opposite direction, all way higher than the statewide average. 2-3 times is considered abnormal. The RSA recommended immediate safety improvements, and then they went into some long-term improvements, one of which is the widening of Highway 20 to include shoulders, which is the subject project that we're speaking on tonight. So the future projections by 2040, the ADT will more than double to 25,000 vehicles a day. Just for comparison, some interstates in this state carry 50 to 60,000. So that's a lot of traffic on a narrow 2-lane road. The facilities along the Mississippi River are going to keep growing. It's estimated $20 billion between Baton Rouge and New Orleans in the future. And according to the traffic counts, 65% of the motorists traveling this portion of Highway 20 originate outside of St. James Parish. So as the parish president alluded to, we have a lot of residents from Lafourche and other areas traveling this route, going to and from work and to the university and other schools. So that's just a picture of what it looks like. Like I said, narrow 2-lane road, no shoulders. There's a canal on the right side and a swamp on the left side. It's another picture. It's a little hard to see it, but if you've driven this road, you know what it looks like. That's another picture. That was an accident in July of 2016. That's actually in Lafourche Parish. That is actually on the parish line between St. James and Lafourche. So we'll go through a little timeline. I won't read all of these, but we started October 2015. RSA was in March of 16. We held multiple meetings with DOTD, several different agencies. Originally, it was presented as a full project from 307 all the way to 3127. That didn't gain a whole lot of traction. So the parish went into a traffic and safety study, alternative analysis, some conceptual design to focus on the safety aspect of the project, which is widening the piece north of 307 into South Vacherie, which is the part where the Barrow Canal exists next to the road, which is considered the most dangerous portion of the highway. The council passed a resolution to request DOTD to enter into this project, enter into a CEA with the parish putting up 20% in-kind matching local funds and urged DOTD to take the project on. That was in February of this year. Fast forward to March, prepared a stage 0 feasibility study. In May, DOTD approved that study. Next month, they recommended advancing that project into stage 1, and it actually got given a project number and a name, and a DOTD project manager was assigned. The parish contracted with T. Baker Smith to begin the topographic surveys, 60% preliminary design, and some preliminary geotechnical work, which began subsequently after. So again, the scope is widening the roadway to include 8-foot shoulders and 12-foot lanes. Currently, the lanes are about 10.5, 11 foot wide, and the shoulders are minimal. The project starts, actually that's a typo, it starts just north of LA 307 near Nacos and ends in the curve in South Vacherie. The widening will occur asymmetrically, which means it'll be just to one side, just to the east side, to include the 8-foot shoulders. We'll shift the center line over. And basically, the project is a continuance, north and south, of the replacement of the Bayou Chauffeur Bridge. The Bayou Chauffeur Bridge is being replaced to have the two 12-foot lanes and the 8-foot shoulders, which will meet the same cross-sectional template as the roadway widening project. So that's just an overview. If you, looking to the left would be the intersection of 20 and 307 near Mike's. The green portion is the portion of this project. The red portion is the portion of the state project to replace the bridge, which is separate from this project, but they do have all the similarities so that they will function as one system. It's a typical cross-section of what it'll look like. Again, we're going to widen it all the way to one side. So the existing southbound travel lane will become the majority of the existing shoulder. And we'll have two 12-foot lanes and 8-foot shoulders. And you can see the canal on the bar canal on the left side. So how did we get to where we are today? Again, RSA, traffic study, stage 0, line and grade, budget memorandums, conceptual design, wetland delineations. We did some partial survey and located a lot of utilities. We're currently wrapping up the topographic survey. It'll be completed in probably 2 weeks, and we'll begin after with geotechnical and some preliminary design. So let's talk a little bit about cost. Estimated construction cost is $6.4 million. That will be funded through the statewide safety priority program, federal funding. You can see all of the pre-construction costs there. Total project cost about $8.1 million. The local in-kind funds about $1.6 million, comprising of about 20%. So to date, St. James Parish has put up $467,500 for some of the preliminary work and the ongoing scope of survey, geotech, and 60% preliminary design. The local funding needed to complete the project, you can see there from 2018, 2019, 2020 is $1.2 million. We do have a anticipated construction letting date of October 2020 right now. So breaking it down by parish, a good portion, if I can back up a few slides to this slide here, where the red line meets the green line on the left-hand side, about 1,000 foot south of there is where the Lafourche Parish, St. James Parish line is. That's where there's a small bridge there, if you've ever driven it. So it puts approximately 15% of the project in Lafourche Parish. So if we break it down by what DOTD considers as control sections, which are designated to each parish, when you look at the engineering, all of the pre-construction services that make up that figure of $1.6 million, you'll look at Lafourche Parish as a total of $327,000, St. James being $1.2 million. The figures that are in orange there are figures that are really not known. Those are what we consider conservative estimates for utility relocations and wetland mitigation. But when you consider that the orange figures, if you take those out of the equation, you're looking at Lafourche Parish. If Lafourche Parish was to come to the table and support this project financially with St. James, you'd be looking at a cost of about $81,000 in 2018. $81,000 in 2019, and then up to $165,000 in 2020. Again, we consider that a conservative estimate, and that's going to be based on actual costs. So to wrap this up, this is an immediate safety need project. It's a standalone project. It is a state project. Will be funded with federal dollars. The local dollars is what's getting the project what we call shovel ready. The traffic has continued to increase since the early 2000s. And as the traffic increases, the accident rates increase as well. Highway 20 lies within St. James and Lafourche Parish. This has regional effects. This is the main drag, if you will, to get from Thibodaux towards the river and to go from the Thibodaux area and North Lafourche area to Baton Rouge. Now that the new Highway 3213 is open to the Gramercy-Wallace Bridge, this is the best way to go to Baton Rouge. Although some people don't take it because they're scared to death of this highway. The only detour is 50 miles one way through Napoleonville, Highway 70. When you have an accident there, it stalls everything for multiple hours, sometimes 8, 10 hours. And emergency response is being hindered along this section of Highway 22. I'm a member of the fire department in St. James, and we talk a lot with the guys in Chack Bay, and we respond to a lot of calls on this route, vehicle accidents, extrication. So St. James committed nearly $500,000 so far. They're also committed to an additional $850,000 for fiscal year 18, 19, and 20. Again, using the local money as a means to jumpstart the project, get it shovel-ready, has been the popular way to go. This has been done successfully in Ascension, Lafayette, Baton Rouge, and in some of the parishes on the North Shore. With the current fiscal climate at the state, if you can get a project shovel-ready and get it ready to go to construction, you have a better chance of actually seeing the project happen. Participation by Lafourche Parish is critical to completing the design phase and getting this shovel-ready, and partnering together if you all would consider that. And the project is being heavily supported by our region's legislative delegation. We've had several meetings with our state reps and newly elected Senator Ed Price. So we've got a lot of support here in Baton Rouge to make sure that this project does happen and keep that money allocated for construction. We just got to get it there. We got to get it shovel-ready and make it available to go to construction. So with that, we'll take any questions or discussion.
Any questions from the council? Mr. Bourgeois.
Real quick, I'm just gonna go by the numbers. I kinda did it in my head, but you said we're 15%. I want you to know, I understand the need of the project, because I do travel that roads a lot and all of that. But I'm just trying to track, you said we were 15% of the project, and based on the rough numbers, I came up with about 200,000. So I'm trying to see where the other 165 went.
Well, we didn't break the numbers down, I guess, by the percentage of the length. What we broke it down is we broke it down into the construction quantities, the amount of asphalt, dirt, guardrail, striping, things that are in the Lafourche Parish section versus the things that are in the St. James Parish section. So it's not, I guess, don't be confused by the length. Some of the things that happen on the very beginning of the project, which is, it begins in Lafourche Parish actually, tend to cost a little bit more than, the straight line middle areas. So it was broken down based on construction items, not just I guess a blanket percentage of length.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. LaFont.
Look, I'm glad y'all did this, 'cause I've been traveling that road quite often lately. I work in Houma, own a house in Baton Rouge. So I traveled it 8 times this last week, and there's some idiots driving that road. It's a shame because just yesterday morning, driving back from Baton Rouge, coming to work, they had a car, and I wish I could have eventually caught up to them just to ask them why they were in such a rush to take the chance of killing innocent people. The way they were passing up people, it was ridiculous. But I think at $327,000 to save one person's life, it's worth the investment for Lafourche Parish.
Thank you. Mr. Melvin.
I support this. I used to, travel from LaRose to Thibodeau to go to White, and then I had friends in Vacherie, so I'd go to the Vacherie, and my kids travel that road now coming back this way. Don't know how I made it all those years, because I did a lot of running the Vacherie, but I tell you, it is dangerous, and I've seen some tragedies on that road myself.
Absolutely.
Mrs. Esposito.
I guess the only thing I'd like to add is how impressively you all got this accomplished. And I hope Lafourche Parish can take a page from the book that they use to get this done, because we have to be smarter with how we get projects funded. And I think this project is a perfect example of how it being done well, with a lot of cooperation from a lot of people, and I look forward to our parish being able to cooperate and hopefully learn from you all.
Thank you. Mr. Grove.
I just want to thank you. I got here a little late, so I missed the beginning of the presentation. Are y'all going to email that to Ms. Carlene so we can all have that PowerPoint?
Yes, absolutely.
I think it'd be good to have. Also, you talked a little bit about plants. I understand there's a big plant being built in St. John that's moving pretty fast. Is that the closest one to being completed?
Well, we do have one in St. James, which is a Yuhan Chemical, YCI, and that is between Vacherie and Downsonville, I guess, if you will.
Okay. I just know with some of those plants in northern Lafourche, real estate's really booming, and they expect a lot of people to live in Thibodeau or northern Lafourche area, which would be using that road. So I think I'm in full support of it as well.
Mr. Jones.
I'd like to thank you all for coming out. I can tell you this council will be 100% behind this. It's a road that very need to be straightened out. A lot of lives are killed. We lose a lot of lives on that road. But it's up to the administration to put the money in. And I think $300,000 to drop in the bucket for the safety of somebody, family member or whatever. We really need this road widened, need the bridge widened, and it'll do a whole lot of good for Lafourche Parish, Terrebonne, and also St. James and St. John. So I'm supporting this 100%.
Thank you.
Mr. Otown.
Yeah, I'm gonna echo what Jerry said. I'm certainly in support of it. I know the challenges we have with 308 and LA1, and with you guys really spearheading this and pushing and funding the funds, I think it's a small contribution from Lafourche, and I certainly hope also that the administration can fund the funds. Obviously, we got to find where those funds come from, and then it'll actually, I mean, 2020 talking about into the next administration potentially. So, but certainly from my viewpoint, I would certainly support it, and I thank y'all for spearheading and pushing safety concerns.
Mrs. Esposito.
I just would like to ask Mr. Jimmy, I know Mr. Haas and Mr. Lasang attended the informational meeting that they held for us at Grady V's last month. Have they had a chance to talk to you about it, or have you had a chance to consider if we can help or not?
Yes, I did, and I also travel that road quite a bit because I go to Baton Rouge, and that's a route I usually take. It definitely needs looking at, and we talked about it, and we're trying to figure out the way we can, with the limited funds we're going to have this coming year and next year, we're going to try to swing this for y'all.
Thank you.
All right, sir.
Thank you all, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much for visiting us and presenting this presentation to us. It's valuable work you guys done in advance to this project. Thank you. Is Ms. Collins here? Okay, we'll stay on the deviation so you can come up and do your presentation. Okay, not a problem. We'll go back to the, can we get a motion to get back to the original schedule? Moved by Mr. Bourgeois, second by Mr. Lafont. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Being none, we are back to Section B. Section B, override vetoed ordinances. Number 2, the following ordinances were vetoed by Parish President Cantrell on Tuesday, August 15, 2017. Ordinance number 5957. And this is the first time I've experienced this in this year that I've been the chairman. So I'm assuming I just read these three and we vote on one at a time. Okay, ordinance number 5957. An ordinance amending ordinance 4432 and amending and reenacting Division 4 Traffic, Section 40-97 Traffic Calming Policies and Procedures of Chapter 40, Traffic of the Code of Ordinances for the Lafourche Parish Council as it pertains to those streets, roads, lanes exempt from meeting the criteria necessary for the installation of traffic calming devices due to extenuating circumstances and installation of traffic calming devices. This is moved by Mrs. Esposito, second by Mr. Jones. Any discussion? Ms. Esposito.
I guess I'd like some explanation as to why this was vetoed in the first place. I know when we had discussion that day in the meeting, Mr. Cantrell said that if the law was changed, that he would be willing to help the residents out, such as Mr. Zizi, who's here today. So what happened?
I'm gonna let Leaf handle that. Leaf.
In reviewing the changes to the ordinance, it was felt that it was a little, like many things, a little vague. It allowed too much leeway for people to bypass the process, we felt. And in putting these traffic devices down, we'd at least like to wait for the sheriff's office recommendation to come in. When we go to the other ordinances, including the one on Mrs. ZZ's lane there, we passed that ordinance, and you should have just recently got an email from the sheriff's office regarding their study on that. So while we can never eliminate liability, in the event that we should have a suit brought against us involving these traffic devices, we would have a lot better shot at making a case in that suit if we're in line with the sheriff's professional opinion. Now, we do understand the need for certain extenuating circumstances. If someone didn't meet the criteria, and in the sheriff's opinion, it was because they were a dead-end street or they couldn't get the signatures. Those things we understand, but we still feel we need to look at the actual traffic survey. And I think if you look at these opinions from the sheriff's office, the 85th percentile of people who travel on Bayou Kramer Road are actually traveling between 10 and 12 miles an hour, from what they gathered from their radars. Now, the radars, they no longer use the trailers. I will tell you, they use some very disguised radar machines, so you don't really see that. So the argument that, yeah, everybody drives fair when they know they're being radar doesn't apply anymore when they do their data surveys. You get a more accurate count of what people really drive on an everyday basis. So the other issue, in addition to liability, is the funds. We just haven't had a chance to find funds to bring this ordinance and start passing and putting these devices down. We do have a list from the sheriff's office of studies that have been completed since 2006, 7, 8, 9. We have streets that were approved back then and were never funded, and the traffic calming device was never put in. So we just didn't want to set a precedent that people will want to bypass the sheriff altogether, come here, make their case, and get their speed bumps down, only to later have to come back a year or two later and have to take them back up when the remaining residents on the street decide they want to, oppose that they're tired of having those things there, which has happened on 2 or 3 occasions from my discussion with Lieutenant Foreman about the process, because I was a little unclear on the actual process, but as long as we can force, I don't want to say force, but as long as we can get the people to go to the sheriff's office and at least ask for it, they're going to get the application. Whether they get that application filled out or not, the sheriff's going to conduct his study, and that's what we want.
Okay. Mr. Oten.
Yeah, well, I can appreciate your research into our sheriff came here a few meetings ago, and I'm by no means an advocate of speed humps because they do create problems in some areas. But this is simply giving the administration the flexibility to put them in areas where they might not fix, and the sheriff felt that there was room for some instances like that. So that's why I voted in favor of the ordinance. And that's why I don't see why, because once again, the administration, it's still going to come from the administration either way. So I have no problem with this ordinance as written. I will, however, reiterate that I think that that residents should have some buy-in on these speed humps. I know the sheriff has said he's going to put up half, so perhaps if it doesn't meet these standards, he's not going to put up the half. And I know in the city of Thibodeau, there's one street, they just put up one of these solar speed limit indicators, and the residents paid for half of it, and I think either the town or the city or the Thibodeau PD put up the other half. So I would certainly encourage us to try to pursue something along those lines if we have issues with funding where we get some buy-in from the residents as well. Since there aren't speed bumps on every street in this whole parish, and I don't think a lot of residents want it. So anyway, I just want to express my feelings on it.
Thank you. Mr. Grove.
Yeah, and with all due respect, I disagree with a lot of the things that was said. I think Councilwoman Sposito did a lot of pre-work and due diligence. I was in a meeting with her and the sheriff. The sheriff came here. It wasn't the first time he explained he was in full support of this. He did it at a meeting last year and said he would pitch in money for it. I think, I don't understand it. And my main question is, do y'all have any information on the proposed amendments that y'all would get to the ordinance? In the veto paperwork, that says something that y'all would propose an amendment.
We would like to propose an amendment to it once we look at it, see what's going to best control. It's no secret. Okay, our economy here in Lafourche Parish is on a downturn still. We're not projected to see any kind of increase in that development in the offshore oil drilling for another 2 to 3 years. We just want to make sure that we have some means to be a little frugalist with our spending here and make sure we don't open our door. I think Mr. Daniel expressed this when we voted, or when you voted on it 2 weeks ago, that it could open a door that if we set a precedent that, hey, we don't need to wait for the sheriff's survey to be done, then everybody's going to want these things, from everywhere, and we could get ourselves, trying to fund a lot of these. Just feel like it's better if before we at least vote on the actual placement for certain streets, that we at least wait for the sheriff's opinion. And then outside of that, we allow the extenuating circumstances to come back and be factored in before the vote.
I think this is just to set some rules in place. It's not at all giving us a sign-up sheet where people could come in first come, first serve. They're getting speed humps. There's a lot of measures in place to stop that from happening. We're just trying to get the verbiage right to help people, like the 2 instances in Kramer that were brought to our attention. Other ones that are in line that have been denied will come and be processed in the same fashion. I truly believe, we can look at each one and the circumstances that are presented. This was a way for Ms. Posito to take care and protect some of her residents, and I think we're all in agreement, and as well as the sheriff. I hate to quote him, but I mean, he definitely alluded to being in support of all these things. And as administration, you guys had a lot of time to look into this, being it was a proposed ordinance and then actually voted on ordinance. So I was hoping y'all would have the amendments ready for us to look at before we try to override this veto.
Ms. Posito.
Ms. Carlene, can you please have Mr. Haas's response just now verbatim? Because I'm not even sure I understand all of that, although what I do understand I disagree with. This ordinance allows for if the street does not meet the criteria, which means the criteria, the sheriff's office has gone through evaluating the street.
Correct.
That's the first thing. So the sheriff's office is evaluated and the street did not meet the criteria. The second thing, it comes before the council. That's the second thing. So that is the next way to vet that particular street. The third thing, the parish president gets to decide if he's going to do it. My residents asked me to find a way to make their streets safer. I'm going to do that, and I'm hoping that this council will override this veto because we have some, and the next thing was, you mentioned something about liability. I don't know if anyone realizes this, but if something happens on a parish road, the parish is responsible. Is that a mystery to anyone? I mean, if it's a pothole and I bend my rim on a pothole, who pays for it? The sheriff never gets involved.
No, ma'am, I
State
never-
trooper, the state of Louisiana, if it's not on a state road, if it's a parish road, we bought it.
Correct.
And so the fact that you say having another level from the sheriff's department, that's a moot point.
I didn't say it
We
was
bought
going
it.
to
That we
remove
said
our
it would reduce liability, it will not. That's a
It
moot
might
point.
help us
We
make
bought
a
it.
case, is all I'm saying.
We will have to be responsible if we have negligently maintained damages someone's property. In our case, that's just another thing for the administration to just cause issues. Now, Mr. Zizi was told by, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but Mr. Zizi's here tonight, Zachariah, I guess is his name. He said that Mr. Cantrell told him it was about the liability. And is that correct? Can you come up, Zizi?
When you get to the mic, please state your name and address for the record, sir.
My name is Emerald Loop. I live on 141 Kramer Bayou Road.
Amariah, sorry, thought it was Zachariah.
Yeah.
Okay, Zizi, what did I called Zizi up the night that I found out it was vetoed by Mr. Jimmy. What did Mr. Jimmy say when you called him up to ask him why did he veto it?
Mr. Jimmy said that he didn't want the parish council to take complete responsibility for the liabilities that would happen with a speed bump. What liabilities? If you've been on a rim, you shouldn't have been going that fast.
Right, so that is, I just wanted to make sure that it came out to the council, in front of you and in front of everyone, that if something happens on a parish road, we're liable. And I don't know if there's data that someone can produce and all that other garbled information that says the statistical data that shows how often a vehicle has been damaged by a speed bump. And so I haven't seen that, but I do know the information that, kids that have been damaged by a vehicle that didn't slow down.
Of course.
When you talked to
What's the
Mr.
greater liability?
Cantrell the first time, what did you ask him and what did he say the first time?
So I set up a meeting with Mr. Cantrell and I asked him if there was anything that I could do. This is when I was first getting into putting speed bumps on my lane. And he told me that I had to go get a packet from the sheriff, and I had to complete the packet. And once the packet was completed, he would fund speed bumps and speed limit signs and stuff like that to help me out, because he understood the risk.
Okay. And then, so he seemed receptive, and then the next time it seemed to just be a liability issue. I know our last meeting, it seemed like he said if the law was changed. So again, ZZ, thank you. I don't, unless someone else has a question for Mr. ZZ, you can sit if you like, unless you have something else to add. I just think that we're going to have the sheriff's office look at it. That's how it gets determined if it doesn't meet the criteria. The sheriff has already said that he'd fund $50,000 and the parish match $50,000. This does not annually, correct, thank you, Mr. Groh. This does not push this street or any other street in front of the others who have already met the criteria. I mean, Mr. ZZ understands that, as so does everyone else. But it does give us options. I just hope that the council will support an overriding this veto. And I'm just really disappointed, once again, in this act.
Mr. Jones.
Mr. Cantrell, you said it exposes the parish to a liability without a professional opinion. Can you give us a status report on how many vehicles been damaged on speed bumps?
I sure can't, Mr. Jones.
So
But
how can
I'd
you
like to
say,
also know, you know, we talked about liability. I just think that, and I want to make sure that the parish is not exposed, so nobody gets a report or something like that from the sheriff. That's what I was, at that point, the sheriff hadn't done a report on this thing, and he didn't say he would have done one. And if he did one, he did it after.
well, how can you veto something and you say it's a liability to the parish without a professional opinion? Who did you research for a professional opinion? Where's the liability that we don't have already? Every street in the parish got a liability on it. So if there's no report on how many accidents happen on speed bumps, there's no case for you. There's no liability you're showing. I hope this council vote to override it.
All right, if there's no more comments on this thing, we'll move this first one, ordinance number. Okay, and we'll afford the public an option to discuss this, to speak on this further. If anybody would like to address us on this item, 1 time, 2 times, and 3 times.
Mr. Chairman, I say we do roll call, light it up, please.
Okay. Are you prepared for that, Ms. Pat? Right, the vote, if you vote yes, you are voting to override this veto. And it takes a minimum of 6 votes by the council members to override parish president veto. It has been overridden. 9-0. Next item, ordinance number 5959, an ordinance requesting that traffic calming devices and the appropriate signage be installed on LaRouche Lane, Thibodaux, Louisiana, Ward 6, District 2, Parish of Lafourche, State of Louisiana, under the rule of exemption due to extenuating circumstances. Any discussion on this item? Mr. Lafont.
I'm sorry.
Oh, can we get a motion? Ms. Sposito moves, second by Mr. Jones. No discussion on the council. Any discussion from the public? 1 time, 2 times, and 3 times. Being none, we'll move it to a vote. Light them up. Wins 9-0. Ordinance number 5959, veto has been overridden. Next item, ordinance number 5960, an ordinance requesting that traffic calming devices and the appropriate signage be installed on Kramer Bayou Road, Kramer, Louisiana, Ward 6, District 2, Parish of Lafourche, State of Louisiana, under the rule of exemption due to extenuating circumstances. Moved by Mr. Esposito, second by Mr. Jones. No discussion from the council, from the public, one time, two times, and three times. No more discussion? Light them up. Passes 9-0.
Thank you, gentlemen.
All right, moving on. Section C, ordinances for discussion and ratification. Number 3, ordinance providing for a 2017 supplemental appropriation 17-023 within the 2017 operations and maintenance budget to cover the expenses of an engineer and a change order to the construction costs for the fishing pier in Leeville 16007, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said and transactions as provided for by Article 6 of the Lafourche Parish Home Rule Charter. Moved by Mr. Lorraine, second by Mr. Bourgeois. Any discussion? Mr. Otam.
Yeah, as I stated, a couple of months ago when I was looking for a supplemental to get Lockport boat launch kicked off, and I did agree at that time to spend the $300-something thousand on the LaRose boat launch. I stuck my neck out there for my constituents, said I wouldn't, do anything, I wouldn't vote for any supplemental until Lockport was done, and so I've got to stick to my game.
And I do remember that, and I remember supporting you on that, and I made the same pledge. Mr. Groh.
Okay, on this fishing pier, this is the one that Mr. Picciola had talked about last meeting? Okay, and you had mentioned, and I just want to ask while we're on it, it's very near completion. I got a call from somebody that was out there the other day. There's a fence that was knocked down. There's a fence that you can lock it? No?
Name and address for the record, please.
Joseph Picciola, Picciola Associates, 115 Picciola Parkway and Cutoff.
There's no fence out there?
There's a temporary fence to prevent people from coming out on the pier right now.
And that's going to be removed?
Because there's no lighting yet.
And that's going to be removed?
It's going to be
Okay.
removed.
So if it's knocked down, it wouldn't matter?
Fence, like plastic
It
orange.
sounded like it was plastic. I didn't get a chance to go out there. And they have a handicap accessible area over there, right?
Yes.
Okay. But it's in shells.
Right.
That's handicap, that's all approved?
Yes,
There's not any liability there because it's not paved or anything?
That's acceptable. We
That
have
was the
handicap
question.
signs.
Okay.
And but there's a ramp, a concrete ramp leading up to the fishing pier wharf.
Okay.
That's acceptable.
Okay, I was just wondering, somebody asked me to question it because it was, people have these $5,000-$10,000 wheelchairs, and if it's in shells, we might have some liability, but if it's all ADA approved and whatnot, which I'm sure y'all did.
It is.
Okay.
Okay, and don't we have an amendment from the floor on this?
Yeah, but I want to clear something with Mike. First of all, the person that told you that is probably talking about where you enter the boat launch. The fence on the right side was, somebody went through it, but we do have the sheriff's report. Has nothing to do with the pier and the pavilion. There's a fence with a gate, because the gate's always open. Well, the one that's on the right-hand side, when you're going in, somebody wiped it out. But we were able to find out who did it, and it's being looked at right now, because we got the sheriff's report on that. And to be honest with you, gentlemen, this pier has been completed. It has been completed. And it kind of upsets me that I hear some councilmen saying, well, I'm not going to vote on this till I get mine fixed. I don't think you should be holding the parish hostage. Maybe the councilman before you didn't do anything. This is a project that's been going on for a couple of years, and I really hustled to get the $500,000. Jerry Lafourche helped me with the Tourist Commission. Some money came available there, because we had the whole project paid for by the state, but unfortunately, we lost it. Not this administration, the previous administration didn't act on it, and we lost the funding. So I was able to get $166,000 from the previous council. Then I went to the Port Commission and got $166. The Tourist Commission, with the help of Jerry, we got $42. Then I had to come back to this council to get $100,000. It has been completed. It is done. In fact, I think some of these funds are being de-obligated also, because the amount of money that it was supposed to be, it didn't quite go as much as that. That's why the amendment, you have a reduction. Instead of the $39,000, it's $21,460. And just remember, the project is completed, and this is what we actually owe the engineer, and I think maybe we still owe something to the contract. I'm not sure, Joe. You could maybe come explain that. And I don't know exactly what happened when all this took place, but this is what the amendment is. It's not going to be $39,000. But if you look at different things in the parish, you have phase 1, and then sometimes you got phase 2 and phase 3. The reason why you have that is because not everything's being done at one time. And this was phase 2. But remember, it should have been paid for by the state, which it was, but unfortunately it didn't happen that way. So I had to chase money for about a year and a half, which I could thank the Port Commission, because without them, I'd have never got the 166. And without the Tourist Commission, with Lafont's help, we wouldn't have got the 42. And I've always said, anything that we're going to do for a boat launch, I don't care where it's at, I'll support it. Because that's where you get a lot of revenue, gentlemen. People that use boat launches, go look at what they're pulling behind their truck, see where they buy most of their stuff, and they use it regardless of where it's at. If it's in central, north, south, doesn't matter. We have a lot of resources down there. A lot of it. We had an international rodeo, first rodeo at that boat launch without these facilities. Just think what you're going to have with these facilities. Just think how much people you're going to bring down there. Forget about where it's at. It's there, and it's going to be used, and it's going to help. Maybe you could explain the...
Well, I mean, we do have a reduction change order on the agenda for approval for $8,828.30. We do have a reduction change order on the agenda for a reduction of $8,828.30. So that's what we came out under budget on the project. But for some reason, in the parish's funds, the total amount, which include the construction costs, engineering, and the other incidentals, was not included. But right now, I don't know what's been paid or what hadn't been paid. Maybe Carol can answer those questions from the administration. But I do think we owe the contractor some money, and there is some money over my contract also.
Carol, you want to comment on that?
Yeah, I don't have the exact figures, but he's correct in saying we owe the contractor, I think Thomasy,
Yes.
90-something thousand, and we owe the engineering, I can't remember exact amount on that, a few $1,000s, $2,000-3,000, I believe. The issue came in is like when Mr. Lorraine said, when he went chasing the money. From what I looked at, it appears that when they went chasing the money, they are looking for money to replace what they lost from the state. They went based on the construction cost and didn't include the engineering. Whose fault that is, who overlooked it, I don't know. But that's what the shortage is of this $21,460.
All right, thank you. I have a real problem. 2 weeks ago, it was asked of this council to approve $39,000 for overrun on this project. And then tonight, miraculously, it's only $21,460. Who's doing the bookkeeping on these projects? I really don't understand these changes. First of all, how we got overfunded or how the project got shorted, and then second of all, how, you know, who's determining these little tweaks in 2 weeks on the amount of liability we still owe on this project? Anyone? None.
No, I'm ready.
Go ahead.
The 39, I think we had a change order where it was proposed to do an additional improvement to the property.
That was an initial change order that the administration requested to put some insulation in the roofing of the pavilion. And through discussions with the contractor and the administration, we determined that it really wasn't necessary. So we didn't ask for an increase in change order. Now, the reduction is because we didn't use all of the contract quantity. I mean,
But y'all determined that in the last 2 weeks after
Yeah.
asking us for $39K
Yeah,
2 weeks ago?
Usually, well, I mean, the 39,000 was requested by the administration some time ago, for that change order. But then when we closed out the job, which was 2 weeks ago, we tallied up all the final quantities of rock we used, aggregate we used, riprap we used, pilings, et cetera, and we had a savings of $8,800 and some change.
So basically,
At the end of every job, it's like that.
I understand that. I've worked construction before, but so basically, you're in need of $21,460.16 to close out the books on this project that's been completed.
Yes, sir.
But the administration claimed that you needed $39,000 2 weeks ago. Where's the disconnect there? That's what I don't understand.
Well, the disconnect is that change order that they were requesting for the installation, which we determined wasn't needed.
Mr. Jones.
Yeah, I'd just like to ask the administration, why was this project awarded without the money being in the budget?
The money was in the budget. The only thing that happened, the previous guy in charge of recreation failed to put it in. I don't know where the disconnect came, but that's where it came from, I think.
The recreation manager dropped the ball on this?
I think the last one, not the last one, the one before last.
He don't handle, or I don't think any recreation manager handles contracts like this.
He was involved in it. And as far as the emails we found, that's where I think the disconnect came out. Because I don't think Joe had put his fees in there and he didn't know it was there or something. I don't know how it happened. It happened. And I can't explain it.
There's been a lot of supplemental appropriation on this job, and it shouldn't have been that. So, Joe, I'm gonna vote to give you the 21,000 because I know the job is completed. But this administration is just as much fault as the past administration, because you're not keeping your books correctly. And these unencumbered funds that y'all claim y'all could do anything you want, why didn't you pay the man his money on the unencumbered funds? Because you had to come to the council. Am I right by saying that, Mr. Auditor?
Mr. Bourgeois, what you got?
Yeah, I just want to clear it up. I mean, so we owe the money, job's done, and we just got to pay the final bill, and that's it.
It's a nice job, too. It's really nice.
Yeah, we can
Thank you.
talk light of it, but the bottom line is we have a serious record-keeping problem going on. Mr. Otan.
Yeah, I just want to come back to, the boat launch in Lockport issue. I'd like to ask Mr. Jimmy if he would consider a supplemental. The council has expressed their interest in moving forward with it when we spent the $370,000 on the La Rose boat launch, so the money was there. This parish has spent, I just want to let everyone know that we have spent over $1 million since 2014 on boat launches. We've got some beautiful ones. Lake Buff, headed to Lake Buff, Kramer, Leeville, et cetera. It's all fine and dandy. We have an international fishing group that comes down to Leeville. Great. You know what? CJ's annual catfish tournament in Lockport, there was over 100 vehicles on Canal Street. Half the boat launch is underwater. Has been underwater ever since the gates got closed in La Rose. It's been underwater, half of it. I don't want to wait anymore. The council is up here. They've expressed their interest in moving forward when they agreed to spend $370 or so on La Rose. So I'm just asking if we can do a supplemental and let's hit the ground running with Lockport. That's what I'm asking, Mr. Jimmy.
Mr. LaFont.
You got my support, I'm sorry.
Yes, sir. Mr. LaFont.
I got a question. You said something about Olin Thomas, he's 90-something thousand. Where's that coming from?
That's all, the money's already there in that job. This 21 is just a shortage. It's not like that account only has, it has the money that's in place already to pay for that.
Oh, we have the money
construction.
already in place to pay the Thomas
What was short
CWO.
on it was the engineering that somehow was missing in transaction from losing the state money.
So why did you even mention the 97,000 just now? If that had nothing to
Because
do
I
with
was
this.
asked what
I
was
didn't-
left to be paid
Oh,
on
okay.
the
All
bill,
right,
if
my
I
bad.
remember right. If not,
So
if I
you got
missed-
the money, just, it's not something you're gonna come back for money after a while?
No.
All right, thank you.
Mr.
Joe, what was gonna be the cost to insulate that building? What was gonna be the cost?
I want to say it was like $5,600, something like that,
It was 5,600?
in that range, yeah.
And once again, look, I like boat launch, I think we do a lot, but I'm gonna tell you, I put $200,000 in the budget, for La Rose Civic Center. I put almost equal amount for the Cutoff Youth Center, somehow it mysteriously disappeared out the budget. And this is coming out of recreation money, and once again, I feel like I'm getting, just like Noonan, I'm getting the shaft. And look, we can fix all the boat launch you want. I wanna fix them. But when we have stuff in the budget and it disappears, it just puzzles me. I feel like my people are not getting their share either. And I'm with you on that, but love to support it, but, until I can start getting some money in my district, I don't know if I'm gonna support anything anymore.
Mrs. Posido.
Councilman Otan, I thought the day after the last meeting, I don't know why I thought Mr. Jimmy went to the boat launch with you. I thought y'all had worked out what was going to be done to correct the problems at the Lockport boat launch. Am I mistaken?
Yeah, so Mr. Jimmy and I did meet, and subsequently, I made a presentation at the Lafourche Game and Fish Commission to get input, because I want buy-in from the residents as well on what path we should take forward, and we've identified all the needs. So now it's just a matter of having the funding there, and I think perhaps, I don't want to speak on Mr. Jimmy's behalf, as that we're waiting for next year's budget, but what I'm saying is I don't want to spend any more money. If we can do supplementals elsewhere, why we don't do a supplemental for Lockport, and let's kick the ground running. Because once again, there's been a couple of times this summer, there's over 100 vehicles at that boat launch, and I will argue that is the most utilized boat launch in this parish. And unfortunately, it's been close to 13, 14 years since a penny's really been spent, a significant penny has been spent on it, and that was with the Wallop Bro funding. So it's in bad shape. A lot of pilings are rotten, a lot of things falling apart, and once again, the increase in the water level now, that foot that the water has come up has put half the boat launch underwater. So we have a lot of issues there, and it's a highly utilized one. So I think, and once again, I won't speak on Mr. James' behalf, I think he's in support of it. I just hope that we can move forward with a supplemental and get it. Because once again, I don't want to hold money from Joe. I mean, heck, he might be the guy helping me out on the Lockport launch. So you're right. I want to move forward, but I want a commitment that we're going to do a supplemental and we hit the ground running with the Lockport launch.
Well, I'm going to support it, and I'm going to try to see, I'm going to get with finance and see what we have and what we don't have. If we don't have it, I mean, we may have to wait till next year. It's all I'm saying. I mean, I want to get it done too, because I think, I'm like you, it's used a lot, and I think it's used probably the most in the parish, and I agree with you.
Yeah, and I hear you loud and clear, Mr. Jimmy, on finding the funds, but once again, I held off on voting for $300-something thousand for a new piece of property for launch. So, I mean, if we can come up with that kind of funding, I certainly think we can come up with something to at least get the ball rolling. But I'd appreciate any support, Mr. Jimmy.
You got it.
Okay, Mr. Lorraine, do you want to introduce the amendment to this thing before we vote on it?
The
The amendment is requiring instead of $39,000, 21.
Right, but I'm asking, you moving on it or what?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, you have any further discussion on this?
No,
Just the number difference is the amendment. Anyone from the public want to speak on this? One time?
No.
2 times? 3 times? Being none. So, we'll move it to a vote as amended.
Yeah, but he could read it.
Yeah, whereas administration is requesting $21,460.16 be transferred from the recreation fund balance to cover the engineering fees and to change order to the construction cost for the fishing pier in Leeville 16007. Okay, first we'll vote on the amendment. All in favor?
I have to abstain due to that ethics issue, business connection.
Okay. So let's move it to a vote one more time. All in favor? Any opposed? Nay. So, we got 7-1-1. Is that correct?
Mr. Chairman, before we go to a vote on the ordinance, we didn't ask the audience to, if three times, so make sure we do it, so.
We just
I
did
didn't hear-
on
you
the
did
amendment.
Yeah, but now we got to do it.
As amended. Thank you, sir.
So 7101 on the amendment.
That's correct. Okay, now, if anyone wants to comment on this from the public, as amended, 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, being none. All in favor? Show of
Abstain.
hands. 6. 1 abstention. Any opposed? Nay. 2. Me and LaFont. All right, passes 6201, correct. All right. Item number 4.
Mr. Chairman, can you defer that one?
Absolutely.
To the
Till-
recommendation of the administration.
2 weeks?
Yeah, on the September 12th.
Okay. So deferred. All right, can we get a motion to open public hearing? Moved by Mr. Bourgeois, second by Mr. LaFont. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? 9-0. Number 5, ordinance to rename the Matthews Government Complex the Lindell Toops Matthews Government Complex. Moved by Mr. Lorraine, second by Mr. Bourgeois. Any discussion on this item? Mr. Lorraine.
Yes, first of all, I want to thank Mr. Bourgeois for seconding it. I just want to let the people of this parish know and this council that Mr. Toops, April the 1st, is going to be going, the next April the 1st will be 2 years that he's deceased. He served on the council for 20 years. He was a hard, dedicated man. He did a lot of good. But I just want to just say this. The district attorney's office, ordinance number 3977, when the council bought that bank or whatever it was, savings and loan, for the district attorney, we named that building December the 12th, 2006. We named that building after Fred H. Block is the name of the building. And it was voted on unanimous at the council that was at that time. I was the only one that's on this council that was on that council. That's one of them. Next, we have ordinance number 3241. The council in a cooperative endeavor turned over the airport to the Greater Lafourche Port Commission. And before that was done, we voted on changing the name of the airport to the Leonard Miller Jr. South Lafourche Airport. And they also, the first thing that Mr. Leonard did, he's deceased too, first thing he did when he was on that board, we got a building built back there. It's still there. It was an administrative building. That's the only thing they had back there at that time for quite a few years. And we also named the building after Leonard Miller Jr. and Mr. Harrison Sheremy Sr., who served on the Port Commission for years, and he was paralyzed. but they named that building after him. And the next thing we did was we named the building for Head Start on 308, Mr. Wallace, Jerry Wallace? Yeah, Reverend Wallace, I'm sorry. And that was voted on by resolution, and that was Mr. Jones, myself, and Mr. Lafourche voted for that. So I just wanted to point out some of the buildings that were named after somebody. And I feel that, you know, this would be an honor for Lindell's family, his grandkids, whoever's there, his family. And since there are other buildings that were named after different people, some of them were good business people, good to the community. Most of those that are named didn't even serve as an elected official, but that doesn't make any difference. They were good community people, good business people. So I just thought I'd let you know before we vote, and I appreciate y'all's support.
Okay, do we have anyone from the public? We have a Ron Sapie would like to address the council on this item.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members, Ron Sapie, 110 Bourgeois Street, Racine, Louisiana, 70394. I want to go back to a meeting on March 28th when the council had an ordinance that was brought up naming the Gaines Library after Lindell Toops. And there were 6 members of the public that spoke at that meeting. Certain members of the council said that, well, that library is just a trailer, Lindell deserves better. I believe it was Mr. Otan, I believe you said that quote.
Call me out and let you know it's specific, that's what I said. Is that what I specifically said?
Yeah. We can go get the thing.
Okay.
All right. So you said that didn't honor Mr. Toops enough. So I think this building would honor Mr. Toops greatly. I mean, he was a good friend of mine, a good friend of a lot of people here in Lafourche Parish. He worked as an auctioneer. He helped cook at a lot of cookouts. He would give you the shirt off his back. And this building has always been his council district. I researched that. So that's all I have if y'all have any questions.
Mr. Otan.
Yeah, so I'll mention a couple of things that I did say at that meeting. One was that I was in favor of memorial markers. Remember that? Memorial markers? Perhaps inside this building? Yeah, I did say that.
Yeah, you did.
We were all in support of the library because the library was 100% against, unanimously against having it named after him. The last thing I brought up was that I will never vote to name any parish building, pump station, anything after anybody. Because we have veterans that have died from this parish in service, and we don't have anything named after them. Because if you do for one, you got to do for all. So perhaps I need to, maybe for the next meeting, do a proposal ordinance that we don't name any parish-owned property after anybody. To me, that would be appropriate. Because if you do for one, you have to do for all. Like I said, I think I specifically remember saying a memorial marker would be the way to go.
Thank you, sir.
You can go back and look in the minutes, and it was not unanimously passed. It failed 3 yeas, 5 nays, and Mr. Groh was absent.
Misquoted me. I said unanimous by the library board. Pay attention. Oh, yeah, I was at that meeting.
Library board, and I'm not
I was
referring
at
to
the meeting of the library board.
I'm not referring to the library board. I'm referring to this meeting, this council.
Yeah, but he referred to the library
March
board
28th.
unanimous.
Okay. Any other questions?
All right. Yep. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move it to any other comments to the public? 2 times? 3 times? Being none? Mr.
Yeah,
Lorraine.
I just want to clarify something. I've always supported the veterans. We have a memorial, South Lafourche Memorial Wall down the bay, and all the veterans that are deceased or went to war that want to be on that wall are on that wall. So don't say that we cut out the veterans.
All right. Mr. Otan.
The reason I'm passionate about that, Mr. Daniel, is I'll explain it to you. There's a bridge that was built in Baton Rouge, I don't know, about 2 years ago. and you had a major general from the Marine Corps, a commandant in the Marine Corps, Lejeune. That's a base. Marine Corps only has 4 bases. One of them is Camp Lejeune. Lejeune's from Baton Rouge. You know who they passed over to name that bridge over him? Audubon, because of all the work that he did. So that's why I do have a chip on my shoulder when it comes to naming different public facilities, because I think he was passed over. So I just, and if you go do for one, you do for all, and so you'll never get my support, unfortunately.
I just wanted to let you know that the veterans are not left out, not in South Lafourche. I can't speak for the rest of the parish.
All right. We're going to light this up since it's a hot button issue. That way everyone knows where everybody stands. Fails 2-7. Item number 6, ordinance establishing no swimming within 600 feet of Golden Meadow boat launch. Golden Meadow, Louisiana, Parish of Lafourche, State of Louisiana, providing for the placement of no swimming within 600 feet, $500 fine signs, and providing penalties for the violations thereof. Moved by Mr. Lorraine, second by Mr. Otown. Any discussion? Mr. LaFont.
I think we had to ask the audience first. Let's see what they respond. Don't we do audience first? No?
No, you can go ahead and address it.
Daniel, why 600? We already have an ordinance that says no swimming around boat launches. I don't know why we need to put another ordinance on top of an ordinance. And why 600 feet?
The reason why 600 feet, because I had some complaints the other day, and I find we're building 3 more wharves at the Golden Meadow boat launch that's been approved already to do. And I think I was getting some complaints that some of these little boys were swimming on the levee pumps, plus they were swimming in the canal where all these outboards come, and you can't see them. Somebody that's just a little bit on top of the water, it's hard for a guy that's driving a boat to see them. And I knew they had the 300 feet, but I specifically want to go 600 feet to make damn sure that they don't go back swimming, period. And I'm just asking you to support it.
I just think we're being redundant. We have a law already in place, there's no swimming around boat launches, and to go put another law on top of it, I think just being redundant here. I'm not gonna support it. I actually called up 4 good friends of mine who've been charter fishing. Between the 4 of them, you got close to 100 years of charter fishing between the 4. Asked them if it's a problem. They use that boat launch every day, they fish 280 days a year, each one of them. I asked them if it's a challenge. They told me in all the years of fishing, they can count on the amount of hands that they might have encountered somebody actually swimming. One of them, he told me, he said, the only time I've seen some kids one time riding their bikes off the boat launch, and it was pretty amusing. Our customers from out of state thought it was pretty funny. He said it wasn't a challenge for him, anything, the kids moved out the way. So, you know, I just think we're being redundant here and putting laws on top of laws. I'm not gonna support it.
Maybe you just didn't talk to the right people.
Mr. Jones.
I'd like to ask, is that boat launch in the city limits, Golden Meadow city limits, or for the parish?
It's for the parish. It's located in the city limits, but it's for the parish. The town owns the parking. This boat launch was put by probably 7 or 8 entities. The parish council, the town of Golden Meadow, the port commission, the wildlife and fishery, and maybe a couple other people.
So would Golden Meadow be in favor of the 600 feet?
Well, that's why I got all the complaints from the people from town. Yeah.
Mr. LaFont.
First, if I'm right, and the mayor's sitting in the audience, if I'm correct in saying the parking lot for the boat launch is in the city limits, I think the outside the levee district is for the parish. Am I correct in saying that? I think all the way to Catfish Lake? Okay, so it's part of your district? Yes, sir. All right. Are y'all getting many complaints? Never had a complaint. Can you step up just for the record so we could have, Mr. Mayor, if you don't mind? I want to thank you for coming to the meeting. Appreciate it.
Make sure the mic's on too, please.
All right. It's on?
Yeah, name and address for the record, sir.
Joey Buziga, Mayor of Town of Golden Meadow. My address is P.O. Box 384, Golden Meadow. Yeah, we never had any complaints of anybody swimming, if that's what you asked me.
Yeah, that's what I asked you. All right. I just, I know we have a law already, and it says that you can't swim around the boat launch. So I think if there'd be a challenge, I think your office would receive calls, and
Yes, sir.
and your office are quite capable of handling it. So
Yeah, we get calls, only calls we get is the garbage, you know, and the Town of Golden Meadow takes care of the garbage every day. But as far as any complaints, that's the only complaint I have is getting the garbage picked up, and my crew picks it up every morning.
Okay, any other questions for the mayor? Mr. Otam?
Yeah, how they do it, Mayor? So my question is, ordinance such as this, does the Golden Meadow Police Department help to enforce these ordinances, or strictly would have to be the parish that would do it? I mean, do you have any kind of an agreement with the sheriff, or how does that work? I'm just asking because we have the same issues in Lockport.
Well, we enforce the no parking area, you know, the police department enforces that. Now, when they got boats that park where they're not supposed to park, we kind of tell them to leave, you know, we don't give no violations, you know. But we do give violations for parking but near the boat launch. That's what we enforce.
So like if there's no swimming, you know, close to the boat, so if there was kids swimming and Golden Meadow PD, they're more likely to be around that area than in the sheriff's office. What would happen there? They would just say, hey, there's an ordinance in place, you guys need to get out of
I'm
here?
sure
Or would
they
they
just
call?
tell them, I need to go swim at the Gold Meadow pool. Or,
Gotcha.
you know, or somewhere else, you know. But like I said, we never had a complaint or a report of anyone swimming.
Gotcha. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay.
Mr.
Yeah,
Lorraine?
I just want to say, Mayor, the one that called me and complained about this, a resident from Golden Meadow, you know him very well, he uses boat launch a lot, and he told me personally that he contacted the police department, and they said they couldn't do nothing about it. So that's why I stepped forward into doing something.
You was at our meeting last night, maybe you should have told us that, while my council and my
Well, I
police chief was there.
I didn't think I was going to have any problems with this.
I
You
know,
know.
but it is in the Town of Golden Meadow, you know what I'm saying? We could have maybe joint venture together if there is an issue.
Yes, I understand that, but they did have a complaint.
Well,
And he
the
did
complaint-
contact the sheriff's office. Meet with your chief of police tomorrow, and maybe he could tell you,
I will definitely check into it,
okay?
all right?
Ms. Posero, you have something for the mayor?
Well, I just wanted to ask if we have a law in existence and they contacted the sheriff's office and the sheriff's office couldn't do anything with that law, what is the sheriff, because the sheriff's office in the end would have to be responsible for enforcing any laws, right?
He said he didn't think they had anything on the books, and at that time, I didn't realize that we had something.
Okay, so we do have
So
something
I
on the
didn't-
books now?
Huh?
Do you know that now that we have something on the books already?
Now,
know?
yeah.
Okay.
At the time, I didn't know, but when I put this on, I found out after.
All right, Mr. Mayor, thank you so much for
Quite welcome.
addressing
Thank
us
you.
on that. All right. Okay, any other comments from the public on this item? One time, 2 times, and 3 times. Being none, no further comment from the council, we'll move it to a vote. All in favor? All opposed? Nay. Nays, raise your hand. Fails. 4-5. I'm just like Jerry, though. I don't think red tape over red tape is gonna help anything.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to defer item 7
Okay,
to the next meeting.
9, 12, 17,
Yeah.
so deferred. Item number 8, ordinance establishing a 3-way stop on Laverne Drive and George Drive, Villas at Layton Plantation, Thibodaux, Louisiana, Ward 1, District 1, Parish of Lafourche, State of Louisiana, installing the necessary 3-way stop signs and providing penalties for the violation thereof. Moved by Mr. Jones, second by Mr. Bourgeois. Any discussion on this item? None from the council. Any discussion from the public? 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. Being none, moving to a vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 9, ordinance establishing a 3-way stop on George Drive and Ainsley Drive, Villas at Layton, Thibodaux, Louisiana, Ward 1, District 1. This seems like the same thing I just read. Is it? It's not red, this different streets. So I'll start over. Ordinance establishing a three-way stop at George Drive and Ainsley Drive, Villas at Layton Plantation, Thibodaux, Louisiana, Ward 1, District 1, Parish of Lafourche, State of Louisiana, install necessary three-way stop sign and provide penalties for the violations thereof. Moved by Mr. Jones. Second by Mrs. Esposito. Any discussion from the council? Being none, any discussion from the public? One time, two times, three times. Being none, moving to a vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 10, ordinance to install additional 15 miles per hour speed limit, and caution children at play signs on Laverne Drive, George Drive, and Ainsley Drive, Villas at Layton Plantation, Thibodaux, Louisiana, Ward 1, District 1, Parish of Lafourche, State of Louisiana, providing for the placement of additional speed limit and caution children at play signs and providing penalties for the violation thereof. Moved by Mr. Jones. Second by Mr. Bourgeois. Any discussion from the council? Being none. Any discussion from the public? One time, two times, three times. Being none. Moving to a vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Please be a little more vocal with your vote, please, lady and gentlemen. Number 11, ordinance providing for a 2017 supplemental appropriation 17-028 within the 2017 operations and maintenance budget to increase the coastal zone management budget by $79,870,000 for the purpose of Grand Bayou Freshwater Reintroduction Project, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said transactions as provided for by Article 6 of the Lafourche Parish Home Rule Charter. Moved by Mr. Lorraine. Second by Mr. Bourgeois. Any discussion? Mrs. Esposito.
What specifically is this increase for?
All I can tell you that it's a grant increasing the Grand Bayou Freshwater Reintroduction Project by $79,870, but only anticipate using $40,000 in 217 and $38,870 in 218.
So you're saying it's, I read that, but you're saying it's to increase the grant application amount, or it's?
Well, there she is right there, ask her.
Name and address for the record, please.
Sure. Amanda Voisin, 4876 Highway 1, Matthews, Louisiana. The Restore Act grant, the total amount of the grant is the $79,870, and this is a Restore Act grant. So we estimated $40,000 will be used this year, but the total amount of the grant award. So we're not increasing anything. We're just putting the money in because we should be receiving the grant shortly.
Okay, so it's a reimbursement?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, so there's nothing it's going to be all reimbursed. Correct.
I understand reimbursement. I got you. Thanks.
Ms. Lorraine?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay. No
Okay.
further questions on this. Thank you. Any discussion from the public on this? One time, two times, and three times being done, we're going to move it to a vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 12, ordinance providing for a 2017 supplemental appropriation 17-019 within the 2017 operations and maintenance budget to cover the engineering costs for the Abbey Road Overlay Project in the amount of $100,000, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said transaction as provided for by Article 6 of the Lafourche Parish Home Rule Charter. Moved by Mr. Groh. Second by Mrs. Esposito. Any discussion from the council? Being none, any discussion from the public? One time, two times, and three times. Moving to a vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Can we get a motion to close this hearing? Moved by Mr. Bourgeois, second by Mr. Lorraine. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? So closed. Mrs. Esposito, Section E, please.
13, proposed ordinance amending number 5764 and amending and reenacting Article 3 Drainage, Section 3661, obstruction of drainage prohibited, violation penalties of Chapter 36 of the Lafourche Parish Code of Ordinances. Councilman Jones. 14, proposed ordinance establishing no overnight parking towed at owner's expense at all Lafourche Parish Library Branch parking lots, installing the necessary no overnight parking towed at owner's expense signs and providing penalties for the violations thereof. Can someone move that for me?
Yes.
Councilman Groh. 15, proposed ordinance providing for 2017 supplemental appropriation 17-029 within the 2017 operation and maintenance budget and capital project to cover the cost to purchase land from Andrew Martin for the use of South Lafourche Airport Project 16008 with a cost of $1,200,000, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said transaction as provided for by Article 6 of the Lafourche Parish Home Rule Charter. Councilman Lorraine.
Thank you. Section F, resolutions, number 16. Resolution approving a contract between Picciola and Associates, Inc. for the engineer services for the EDA grant program, LA Highway 308 Turn Lane Airport Access Road Project, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said contract and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Lorraine, second by Mr. LaFont. Any discussion from the council? Mr. Lorraine.
Yeah, I just want to let the council know that, this is a grant, and the Port Commission helped us out on some of the funding, and the parish put up some. And a couple of councilmen weren't happy last time because the point system on these engineers, we didn't have a copy of it, but since then you should have a copy in your packet. And Picciola had 539 points. The closest one to them was Grand Isle Shipyard with 506, and that was the total points. So they were correct, and it was done right.
Is that it?
That's it.
All right, any other discussion? Being none, moving to a vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 17, resolution requesting Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development, LADOTD, to clean the culverts along LA1 from West 123rd Street to Safari Heights, West 176th Street and West 177th Street, West 185th Street to West 191st Street and West 201st Street to West 208th Street for the betterment of drainage. Moved by Mr. Lorraine, second by Mr. LaFont. Any discussion? Mr. LaFont.
I do. And look, I'm going to ask y'all to support this 100%. It's, we are having a big challenge in the southern part of the parish because the state is failing to do their job right now. All our drainage that the state's responsible for is clogged up and overgrown to like you've never seen it before. And we've had several homes. Daniel's had a few homes with house in it. I've had a few homes with house with it. He's had a home with house with it. So we just need if you ever see a state legislator or somebody, we need to discuss with them the importance of this and what it's causing our districts. So I'm asking y'all to support this 100%.
Mr. Bourgeois.
I can't agree with you more, Mr. LaFont. I mean, not only down in South Lafourche, but Highway 316, which is a state highway in Bayou Blue, we're having horrible drainage problems there. The service road on Highway 90, which I share with Mr. Perilou, and 652, 653, state's not responding. They're overgrown. We got block drainage. We got a road that's caving in. It's not just your district. I think it's the whole parish.
Mr. Melvin.
Highway 182, so our Corey and I's district joins. State doesn't want to clean culverts, and there's issues there. Along Percy Brown Road, the grass is overgrown. You can't even see the guardrail anymore. Not sure what's going on.
Mr. Lorraine, you have something else?
Yeah, the only thing I want to say is that I put this together because I went and ride myself. I usually go ride after a big rain, try to ride most of the area. And I'm beginning to see a lot of water in places that I've never seen it before. And it's not just here, it's all over. And I just don't know how they're ever going to catch up.
You're right. Mr. LaFont.
I was thinking about this, and this may be something, Mr. Jimmy, your staff can look into. I know a lot of times we have to, on state projects, we have to have contributing funds. Maybe we ought to start keeping a tally on all the stuff we have to do for the state and what the cost is to the parish. And next time they ask us for matching funds, say, look, we spent $40 million cleaning your ditches. Maybe we could do that. And next time they say, look, this project, we need matching funds. Well, we need matching funds for all the work we've done before.
Jerry, I think it's a good idea, but also in your area, we're doing a job right now about Frank's
supermarket, right? I saw it, and they did a great job.
And that's a state issue. It's a real big problem, and we're trying to address that because we had a lot of houses that had almost water in it because of failure of the state to do what they're supposed to do.
Right, and I appreciate it, and I had an ordinance, a resolution several meetings back and asking the state to actually clean that particular section. They didn't react, and look, like Daniel said, we have, and look, I know we're getting some 6 inches in 1 hour and some of those, but the drainage is really, really bad because if you look down 32, 35, what's supposed to be a ditch, it's got more willow trees than you can ever imagine.
All right, we'll move this thing to a vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Being none, passes 9-0. Number 18, resolution requesting second request, the Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development, LADOTD, to install a full traffic light at Ridgefield Road and Talbot Avenue, Highway 3107, Thibodaux, Louisiana, Ward 1, District 1, Parish of Lafourche, State, of Louisiana. Moved by Mr. Jones. Second by Mr. Bourgeois. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 19, resolution requesting the Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development, LADOTD, to address the sitting water on U.S. Highway 90 between Raceland and Des Allemands, Louisiana. Can someone move on that for me? Mr. Bourgeois, second by Mr. Lafont. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 20, resolution engaging the firm of Stagney and Company LLC renewal option year to perform the Lafourche Parish Council's statutorily required audit as of and for the year ending December 31st, 2017, not to exceed $59,300, and authorizing the parish president to sign any and all necessary documents. Moved by Mr. Lorraine. Second by Mr. Lafont. Any discussion on this? Mr. Lorraine.
Yeah, I just want to say that this is just usually a formality, and that a while back I got an email from the council clerk. She emailed all the council and asking for someone who would want to sponsor this for Stagney. I've been sitting here quite a few years, and I could remember we had one auditor that we changed over to, and in the last 12 years, I guess, maybe 15, it's always been Stagney. And I think since he gave his price, if you go out for RSPs, he already gave his price, so it would be unfair for him, because now they know what he's bidding on. So it's basically a formality. So I emailed her back, and I don't email too much, and I says, I'll sponsor it. And that's how they got there.
All right, moving to a vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Pass. Oh, put your hands up if you're opposed. 1, 2, 3, 4. Passes 5-4. Put your hands up. Item number 21, resolution authorizing the council clerk to advertise for requests for proposals for an auditing firm to provide for an annual financial and compliance audit of the financial statements of the parish, to include all funds and account groups representing the financial transaction of the parish and all departments and offices for the year ending December 31st, 2017. Someone, we've renewed it, right? So yeah, okay, I'll pull it. For me? Ms. Lucy pulled it. Item 22, resolution pursuant to the Lafourche Parish District Attorney Opinion Number 17030, which is attached, fourth paragraph of opinion, requesting the Civil Service Board to review, examine, and amend the term limit of its policy, Section 9.1, classified employees on unpaid leave selected by the president for an unclassified position, duly ratified by the council, be amended from 24 months to 48 months, and to serve at the pleasure of the president who selected them, thus making their term of satisfactory service run concurrently with the president's 48-month term. Moved by Mr. Melvin. Second by Mr. Lorraine. Mr. Melvin?
Mr. Cantor, I just wanted to know what you thought of this item.
It's your item. It looks all right to me.
Okay, well, I'm gonna go ahead and pull it. I'd rather you put this to civil service than myself. Thank you.
Are you're pulling it? So are you pulling your second? Yeah, before it was read. Well, since it was read, I'm kind of curious as to the fact, is the administration doing anything to extend Mr. James Barnes?
we were also working on this avenue as well, looking into the possibility of getting this civil service manual amended.
So it's a possibility at this point that you might do something with it?
Yes, sir, we are looking into
Because he's about the only shining light in this whole administration, and I'd hate to see him go back to the barn.
I'd like to say something. I've been here a long time, and the permits department has turned this parish around. So don't just say Mr. Barnes. I like Mr. Barnes, he does a good job, but there are other people that do a good job, and there are others that need to go, should go. But that permit department, I can tell you, I don't get the complaints that I used to get. And they opened an office in Lafourche, and they opened one in Thibodeau, and it's a lot better. So I think Mr. Brew has done a damn good job, and I'm gonna tell you, Mr. Barnes does a good job.
They're the last two men standing.
Yep.
Mr. Bourgeois.
I was going to say exactly what Mr. Lorraine said. Mr. Barnes does an outstanding job, but I don't want to take any light away from Mr. Bro. He does an outstanding job. I get compliments on the permit office. He's done an outstanding job.
Mr. Bro, I mean, your 24 months is almost up as well, right? So without any movement from the Civil Service Board, you'd have to go back to the field as well, right?
You don't have to.
I think they have to go back. They can decide to stay on and give up their civil service position.
At the mercy of outside sources.
That's right. Yeah. And you know, I think
that's not a gamble I'd be willing to take, partner.
Well, here's the deal. Most places only give you 6 months. I don't even know why we give somebody 2 years. Either you're working with them or you're not. I think the city of Thibodeau goes 10 months maybe or something like that. But we pulled it.
Mr. Otan.
Yeah, while we're throwing accolades, I want to thank both Tony and James, because they've been wonderful to work with my year and a half as a councilman. So I thank both of them, and really appreciate y'all efforts in working with me.
Mr. Council,
Yes, sir?
I would like to ask Councilman Melvin not to pull it, let the council vote and let the votes fall where they may.
Well, I know Mr. Jimmy's approached the Civil Service Board before to, have them modify things, and that's perfectly fine. He's well within his rights. And I think that since y'all are actually administrative employees, appointments, we confirm you. I just thought it was better coming from Mr. Jimmy to, do this. That way it would maybe enhance the value that you and Tony bring to the parish. That's my motivation.
So you're still pulling it, in other words. Okay. Mr. Jones.
Yeah, I'd just like to echo, Mr. Barnes, you've done a great job in Public Works. Permits has improved. Daniel also been here many years. We've seen a lot of things come through and then left here. But these are the last 2 men in this administration that really doing the job. And you're right. I agree with you 100%. A lot others should be gone.
You're right.
And hopefully we can do an amendment tonight to send 2 away.
Mr. Grow.
I got to follow that, huh? I was just going to say, I've served on the City of Thibodeau's Civil Service Board before running for office, and I can make a valid point on both sides of this, but I think it's important because, although we all think very highly of 2 men that we know may have to go back to their positions or be faced with a choice, you need to take feelings out of things like this. You don't create rules or change rules for personalities, or it's by the book. And I understand both pulling it, but I also think that administration should ask for an opinion from civil service. I think, like Councilman LaFont said, 24 months is probably longer. I'd like to know for sure by them looking into it with neighboring parishes, other municipalities. And I don't, just like when we have DA opinions, they're rarely voted down. It doesn't hurt to ask. So let's ask civil service to look into it.
Ms. Posito.
I don't know that I've ever seen so much blue in the audience before with Public Works. So I'm not sure if they're here to support Mr. Barnes, or I'm not even really sure if any of them wanted to speak on that. All I can say is, and I understand Mr. Melvin pulling it, and honestly, we have a very capable civil service board that you know, I think that if we would make some calls, or if someone would make some calls and ask them to bring this to their board, and if Mr. Jimmy's willing to consider it, I've gotten more compliments on Mr. Barnes than, like, it comes out of the woodwork. It's ridiculous, James. And as far as your accessibility to everyone and the job that you're doing, I can't wait till your presentation, the money that you're saving the parish with all the work that you're doing in-house. And I'm not talking about just from other council members. I'm talking about engineers in the parish. I'm talking about people that work for the levy districts. And so the thought of me losing you in my district sickens me. So I would hope that, although I have great people working in my district, I would hope that something will work out, because I understand you not wanting to take that chance, considering what we're through, 11, 12, 15 department heads at this point. I don't know the count by now. I can understand you not willing to take that chance, but I certainly hope that if it doesn't work out, that somehow you end up being willing to stay, because the parish, I think, is benefiting from you being in that position.
Mr. Lorraine.
Yes, I think, my opinion, what's really going on over here is that if the council would support this, and the administration supports it, it would be better going a council and the administration supporting the same thing for probably the first time in this parish in the last year and a half. This would make it stronger, and it would make it better. And Mr. Barnes does a great job. Mr. Brewer does a good job. But there's an administration. They don't just do it by themselves. You got an administration. There are orders given, okay? And I like Barnes. He does a good job, but he doesn't do it by himself. There's an administrative group. Remember that.
I don't think anyone's forgotten that, Mr.
What?
Daniel. I don't think, and the numbers will show that probably Mr. Jimmy has put more money in public works than many parish presidents before him.
Which should be commended of Mr. Cantrell.
Right. Anything Mr. Barnes gets credit for, that falls under Mr. Jimmy.
Yes.
That's.
Well, I
think
never heard
that's
you
a
say that
given.
before. I appreciate you saying that.
No, but I mean, I thought that was a given. When someone is doing, just like Mr. Jimmy can take the blame, he certainly can
Right.
take the credit.
We all got to
I
take the
don't
blame,
think-
too.
No, but I'm just saying, I think that is a given. We know that without giving enough funding, Mr. Barnes can't do anything. I mean, I think that's understood by everyone, but maybe, I guess it wasn't.
All right, Mr. Melvin.
Yeah, I mean, I support Mr. James. We all can hear it echoed. I mean, I've supported him in the past, and I know there's an army of folks behind the scenes who help him, and of course, Tony as well in permitting. I was just entertaining to pull this simply because it's going forward in the future. I mean, rules can be, of course, amended and changed by the board. This is just a recommendation. I just noted that this may affect other things and other people in the future. But, I mean, if y'all really want to vote on it that bad, I mean, we can
Mr.
move
Chairman,
forward
point
and
of
vote.
order, he's pulled it, we discussed it for 20 minutes now, it's not even on the agenda anymore. Want to discuss it at the end of the meeting, that's fine, but point of order, we need to get back on track.
All right, item number 22, resolution pursuant to the Lafourche Parish District Attorney, opinion number 17030, attached, fourth paragraph of opinion. Oh, wait a minute, that's the one you pulled. Number 23, resolution in support of a 2017 Louisiana Housing Corporation grant application for the Lafourche Parish Government Office of Community Action and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Jones, second by Mr. Bourgeois. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 24, resolution approving a commercial card application and agreement between Lafourche Parish Government and J.P. Morgan Chase Bank, N.A., and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Bourgeois. Second by Mr. Lorraine. Any discussion?
What's the credit card for? Is it something that y'all normally have? You have a credit card now? Is it new credit card? What's the status?
We have somebody from Chase, and he's gonna explain it, so maybe you wanna listen to it?
Yeah, I'd like to hear.
All right,
Please, thank you.
Mr. Chairman. I have Mr. Bride here from Chase Bank who's going to explain it.
Thank you, Mr. Bourgeois.
Good evening.
Name and address for the record, please.
Sure, my name is Philip, My name is Philip Bride. I'm from Kansas City, Missouri. I'm a credit card payment specialist. What we have in front of you is what it's not. First of all, it's not a bunch of credit cards walking around the parish of the employees. It's one card that's going to stick within your accounts payables function. You're going to pay accepting vendors who you're already today paying by check. The advantage to the parish is you're going to earn a rebate on it. So that's why we're doing it. We looked at your vendors, and not every one of your suppliers or vendors will accept a credit card, but we researched and we came back with, we think that we can do $10 million in spend based on where you fall and how often you pay. There's a chance that you could get approximately a 1.6% rebate. So if you do $10 million, you're talking $167,000 paid annually to the parish. There's no fees, okay? There's no risk. If it doesn't work, you just stop using the program with no penalty. One of the other advantages to paying by credit card rather than by check is you have something called employee misuse. Every credit card company gives you fraud protection. What we give you in addition to that is if an employee misuses the card, a non-legit expense, we will actually reimburse you up to $100,000 as long as you terminate that employee who's misused the employee. So, does anybody have any questions?
What's the annual percentage rate? I know you guys don't work for free.
That's right. We don't charge you anything. Where we make our money from is from the accepting merchant. So you go into Walmart and you buy $100 worth of goods, Walmart pays a merchant fee. And so if you buy $100, the credit card company might send them anywhere from, I'm just going to guess that their merchant fee is $98. But we don't charge you, the user, just like you don't get charged for using your own personal credit card. It's very similar to a lot of us have personal credit cards that we use to pay our own, making points or a cash rebate on that with absolutely no fees to you.
All right.
Go ahead.
We voted on this once already, not long ago, if I'm familiar, and I voted no against it. I'm going to do against it again. I just like the fact of having a check to go back to look at. We had an incident where the parish president has to reimburse for some funds that he paid himself. Had this gone through a credit card, without
paper trail.
Paper trail. I like a paper trail, so I'm going to vote against it again.
Mr.
Voted
Bourgeois.
against it last time. I voted against it this time.
Mr. Bourgeois.
Yeah, I want to thank Mr. Bride for coming down from Overland Park to explain all of this. I personally think the credit card's a good deal. In modern world, the credit card is how business does business. There is a paper trail with it. It gives you a transaction number. Actually, the fraud protection is higher than a check for the most part. And it's going to be governed just like checks. A lot of checks are signed with a stamp or different things like this. And I think it's going to afford the same protection. It's just that on a check, we don't get money back. We pay a bank to pay our money, whereas with the credit card, they're going to pay us.
Absolutely. And sir, to your example, if somebody writes a check to themselves and it's employee misuse, you could be out that money. With our program, you would file that as an employee misuse transaction, and we would actually reimburse you up to that $100,000 that I mentioned. So there's actually added protection paying by credit card versus a check.
Mrs. Posito?
I voted against it last time because no one could explain any specifics. No one could give us some data, any information on historical data, tell us how much a rebate could possibly be, tell us any of the information you just gave us. So I really appreciate you coming out, and I'm going to vote in favor of it because me personally, I use it all the time to earn points. I use credit cards all the time to earn points, and I also know that there is a paper trail. I feel more confident. It's rare when I write a check, so I feel like I can sort of follow things a little bit better through a credit card. And I appreciate the fraud protection as well.
And thank you. And if need be, you can open up visibility into those transactions. So if you want to have oversight to those transactions, you can let anybody that you designate look at those.
I just want to thank you for coming,
Go ahead,
Mr.
sir.
Chairman. I just want to thank you for coming and explaining everything. I don't see any reason why we shouldn't do this either. And I would hope, I mean, I think we're going to have trouble getting to that mark that you're talking about. I don't know why our vendors would accept it with a 2 or 3%, but that's their problem, you know? If we can get some money back, let's do it.
Absolutely. And sometimes you get vendors who offer you 2% early pay. Not everybody does that, but if they offer it, you take advantage of that.
Mr. Melvin?
Yes, sir, thank you for coming. I'm not so much against credit cards, we know how they work. I'm just against credit cards with government because, you know, you say if there's some wrongdoing that occurs, some fraud or whatnot, and the employee has to be fired, well, you know, that just depends on who, because sometimes we can fire them, sometimes we can't.
Right.
You know,
Well, I'm sorry, you don't have to fire them, only if you want your $100,000 reimbursement.
we want it, baby, we want it.
Okay, so what I'm
You
saying
don't
is,
have
we're not
to.
going to come in and dictate how you run your business.
We got a $10 million limit, 100 grand is chicken feed, but this says 20 cards.
Yeah. That's
20 cards?
That was just a number that we put down. The cards are free.
It's in the
so-
contract.
I'm sorry, that is correct. We're gonna order one card for the accounts payables function. I think when we initially talked about this, we were saying perhaps there's a need for employees to run around with small little purchasing, but we're not, as I understand
And
it.
also, I read cash advances. I'm just saying that I know that there was some government in Vegas and they were living it up and it was on government credit cards.
GSA.
I'm just telling you, I mean, I'm
No,
nothing
no,
against your
there's
company, I'm just saying it's just a fact.
No, absolutely, no, there can be abuse in the system, but also we can limit so you don't, so that cash advances are not allowed.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Let's move it to a vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Nay. Hands up, nays. Lafont, Melvin, and Jones. Passes. 6-3.
Thank you, everyone.
Number 25, resolution reappointing one member to the Fire Protection District Number 2, Mr. Otan.
I enthusiastically recommend the reappointment of Mr. Val Rodrigue with over 40-something years of service to our community.
Can we get a second? Mr. Bourgeois seconds. Any further discussion? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Okay, so the next couple, we have amendments. All right, number 26, resolution approving an assignment agreement from Progressive Waste Solutions of Louisiana, Inc. to BFI Waste Services, LLC for contractor services relative to waste removal services at parish facilities and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Jones. Second by Mr. Lorraine. Do you want to discuss this first, or you want to bring in the amendment?
Yeah. Amendment reads, to replace attachment 2, Water Connection, Inc., letter regarding agreement for service with the entirety with the new version. And the letter is attached. Jerome here? You can come up and explain it, Chief.
Jerome Danos, 4876 Highway 1 Matthews. Mr. Jones.
I just mentioned something.
So they're selling out? Progressive is selling the BFI?
That's my understanding, correct. The sale is supposed to be complete on September 1st.
And the services are gonna continue like we have now?
No changes in the current contract.
Okay, and that's, you ran that through the district attorney's office?
We did, yes.
And in the contract, it says it can be done?
There is a provision in the contract for such a transaction, yes, sir.
Okay.
Mr. Lafont.
Jerome, I just want to thank you for being on top of it. You and I spoke a lot about it, and you explained a lot. I wasn't sure if I was going to support it or not, but after talking to you a good bit and talking to the district attorney's office, I think it's something we can support, and we're going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and support it. Thank you for your hard work. You're doing a great job. Thank you.
Mr. Bourgeois.
I'm just curious about something that that I heard that BFI, Browning Ferris Industries, was actually acquired by Allied Waste as well. Are we gonna have to change then too?
Well, we do have representatives from the company here. They could probably address that better than I could, but my understanding is that the names are interchangeable. BFI,
Okay.
Republic, Allied Waste.
Okay,
all the
so,
same
so they're,
company.
yeah, that was my only concern is because, the name Browning Ferris Industries, BFI, is not used, and the employees are talking, they're becoming Republic employees, and, some of them are talking about Allied employees, and I'm just, didn't know if we had to amend it to include all those companies or if they're interchangeable.
I believe the parent company is BFI, as
Okay.
indicated in the documentation.
Thank you.
Mr. Grove.
I just want to thank Jerome, too. Like Jerry, I spoke to him and spoke to Jerry about this. Because it reads as just a simple name change. You know, we've done that before with Better Waste last year when they sold. And being an asset sale, they sell in all the contracts with it. We do have a shortage in, possible shortage in solid waste. And we did look into possibly going out for an RFP, and we're not going to be able to do that. So I just wanted everybody to know that he was, you know, approached to investigate the possibility of an RFP, and it's not something we could do at this time.
Will the new company continue on with Councilman Bourgeois' all right turns, or will they have to make left turns? All right, let's move the amendment to a vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. Let's vote on the resolution as amended. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 27, you can stay put in case anybody else has questions on this next one. Number 27, resolution approving an assignment agreement from Progressive Waste Solutions of Louisiana, Inc. to BFI Waste Services, LLC for contractor services relative to parish-wide garbage and trash collection, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Jones. Second by Mr. Lafont. Mr. Jones.
It has an amendment to this. Replacement attachment number 2, Waste Connection, Inc., letter regarding agreement for service with its entirety with the new version.
Already seconded. Okay. Mr. Bourgeois, question?
Oh, I just wanted to throw that I do appreciate Mr. Danos. I didn't say that earlier, and I do appreciate all the hard work you do. Thank you.
Mr. Jones, anything further?
Yes, Mr. Danos, I said earlier that I wish I could get rid of 2 other. This is the time I can amend this contract. Is there any way I can amend this contract and send Jimmy and Tommy with Waste Pro?
All right. Let's vote on the amendment first. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Being none, let's vote on it as amended. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Number 28, resolution approving a cooperative endeavor agreement with Deauville Inn and Suites whereby the Lafourche Parish Office of Community Action agrees to reimburse Deauville Inn and Suites for an amount not to exceed $400 per qualified applicant, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer the agreement and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Jones. Second by Mrs. Esposito. Any discussion? Mr. Lafont.
Is this for homeless people, Jones? What's this for?
Yes, that's what it's for, but Ms. Ruffin is here.
All right. I'm good.
All right. Moving to a vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 29, resolution approving a cooperative endeavor agreement between Lafourche Parish Government and St. Mary Community Action for one Ford E350 van. VIN number 1 Foxtrot. What's the T? Tango, thank you. Sierra 34 Sierra 38 Delta Bravo 32416, and 1 International Cargo Trailer VIN number 1 Uniform Kilo 500 Hotel 2691 067927. Authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Jones, second by Mr. Otan. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 30, resolution approving a grant between the Louisiana Workforce Commission, LWC, and Lafourche Parish Council, local grant recipient with the fiscal agent being LAT Workforce Investment Board, Inc., for program year beginning April 1st, 2017 and ending June 30th, 2019, to receive funding from the Louisiana Workforce Commission to provide services to youth, adult, and dislocated services in the region, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Jones, second by Mr. Bourgeois. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 31, resolution approving amendment number 1 to the grant between the Louisiana Workforce Commission, LWC, and Lafourche Parish Council, local grant recipient with the fiscal agent being LAT Workforce Investment Board, Inc., for program year beginning July 1st, 2016 and ending June 30th, 2017, to receive funding from the Louisiana Workforce Commission to provide case management services to work-eligible cash assistance recipients as referred by the Louisiana Department of Children and Family Services, to move those families from cash assistance to employment, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said grant, and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Mr. Jones, second by Mr. Lafont. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. All right, we have already done section G and H. 33, okay. Ms. Karen Collins, you still here? CEO of Lady of the Sea Hospital, Service District Number 1, to present an annual report. Name and address for the record, please.
Karen Collins, 275 West 86th Street, Cutoff, Louisiana. CEO of Lady of the Sea. I have also with me Dr. Darren Dewey, who's our chairman of the board for the Board of Commissioners at Lady of the Sea. Lady of the Sea was established in 1956 to provide health care for residents of the 10th Ward in Lafourche Parish. The current facility was built in 1978. Our mission is to provide high-quality care in a personalized manner to those we serve. We strive to be the primary provider of wellness, education, and health services for our community. Lady of the Sea is a great place to work, a great place to practice medicine, and a great place to receive care. Our focus is on providing compassionate care close to home. Contributing to that focus are our physicians, nurse practitioners, and physician assistants. We have providers, a total of 144 that are credentialed at the hospital, in family medicine, general surgery, ENT, podiatry, radiology, GYN, emergency medicine, oncology, pathology, orthopedics, and a number of telemedicine services, telestroke, telecardiology, telepsychiatry, and teleradiology. We offer inpatient and outpatient services. We have a med-surg unit, a 2-bed ICU. We have emergency services and surgical services, speech, occupational, and physical therapy, extensive laboratory and radiology diagnostics, including MRI, ultrasound, digital mammography, CT, and nuclear scans. We have a home health agency. We have 2 rural health clinics with extended hours during the week till 9 o'clock at night, and on the weekends from 9 to 3 to meet the needs of our community. We have 2 community pharmacies. We have a chronic dialysis center that has 10 beds and serves about 24 patients in the area. We offer a learning center for community education, and we have a certified diabetes education program. We really focus on meeting the needs of our community so they don't have to travel if necessary. We service about 47,632 clinic visits a year, 9,733 emergency department visits, which is a 4% increase from last year, and 26,176 outpatient registrations. In our community outreach, as I mentioned before, we have certified diabetes education program. We offer free diabetes education to our community members. We have our learning center providing free monthly wellness screenings, as well as outreach wellness screenings. We had 881 screenings provided this past year. We had 2,464 community members who attended our community education programs. We have free breast screening cancer for, we actually were able to provide free screening for 33 individuals through our Reduce the Risk grant. We partner with the Sheriff's Office, Fire Department, and others to provide community education also through our safety circus and our diabetes fair, which is held annually. We are also new participants with the Sudden Impact Program with University Medical Center in New Orleans and the Louisiana State Police, which is a program which begins with sophomores in high school. There's about 15 hospitals currently that participate through that program. It begins as 10th graders. They have an all-day classroom. As juniors, they see an actual simulated accident site, and then when they're seniors, they actually go through a trial. So it's to teach these children, teenagers, about the effects of distracted or driving or impaired driving. So it makes them more responsible as drivers. So we're really, really happy to begin that program this year. So it continues every sophomore year. You have a new class that begins that. So we're very excited to partner with those organizations to provide that. Our focus is on patient care. We are recognized by the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid as a 5-star facility for patient experience for both our hospital patients and our home health patients. We rank in the top 1% nationally for responses about the care provided by our nurses, in the top 4% nationally for the emergency department patient experience. We also maintain ISO 9001-2008 certification, which is a program that focuses on continuous quality improvement. We employ 328 individuals with an annual total salaries of about $13.8 million. The economic impact to our community is about $54.7 million. We invested $708,000 in capital improvements last year. We collect $2.1 million in ad valorem taxes for maintenance and operations, which is 3.34 mills, and $572,500 for our debt service, which is 0.7 mills, which is a rollback from the 1 mill. We actually opened, as far as growth, we had opened a new clinic at Port Fouchon a year ago. That clinic has not had the volume that we had hoped it would, so we're actually in the process of closing that, and it will close on August 31st of this year. As far as other awards of recognition, we also have a 4-star quality rating from the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid. We have won Health Grade's Outstanding Patient Experience Awards in 2015, 16, and 17, and we're also a level 2 well spot with the Louisiana Department of Health and Hospitals. Can I answer any questions?
Any questions? Mr. LaFont?
Karen, thank you. I want to thank you and Dr. Darren DeWay for a great job y'all been doing. I think since you took over that position, the hospital has really made a good change. So I want to thank you for that. Very upset to hear that the Fouchon facility is closing, but I think when the timing for opening was just a bad time in the oil field, maybe in the future when the oil field picks up back up, maybe we could look back into doing it again. I'm sure y'all will. But I just want to thank you and your staff for doing such a great job. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mr. Lorraine?
Yeah, Karen, I make just about every one of your meetings, and I think Dr. Dewey is doing a super job. You have a real good board. I was in there the other day when they had somebody that came file a complaint, and happened to be my brother. And y'all took care of the problem. It was a minor complaint. He was very satisfied the way y'all handled it. And that's what I tell a lot of people. Some people want to talk about something, but they don't go forward. Come to the board and tell them your problem, and if they can help you, they will. And y'all were very successful in helping him, and you made him happy, so that was the first. And like I said, I don't miss too many. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thanks for the presentation, and continue the great work you all do. And all right. Section I, Engineers, Architects Reports.
Sandy Guidry with Angela Piciola, 15511 East Main Street Cutoff. First, we have the Parlor Rose Pump Station. We went out last week and we tested the pumps. Everything worked well. We are probably next week going to make a final walkthrough with the contractor. We will have a change order that is going to be on next meeting's agenda, and that's for additional safety like solar lighting requested from administration. We are well in the budget, and I think the change order is, I think it was about $10,000, $11,000. So that one should be closing up soon. Our next one is Highway 308 Road and Drainage. We have started construction on the drainage part. These pictures were actually taken today, right after y'all got a little rain, but they're installing culverts, and then they'll come with the road elevations after. Industrial flood wall, phase 2 and 3. I think September 26th, we are opening bids for phase 2, which is the T-Ball pump station, and we are finishing up, finalizing the design on phase 3, which is the drainage improvements. And that's it. Any questions?
Mr. Lorraine?
Yeah, on that project on 308, they're gonna raise the road about 11 inches, huh?
It varies. The elevation
It
will be
depends.
+2.
For
Some-
1,700
sometimes-
feet, right? That's pretty much what I understood.
I can't read numbers. I think it's actually a little longer than that. I can get you a definite number though.
And also-
But it's past the houses, the bulk of the houses.
Right, it goes almost to Mr. Teal's house where Needham lives. Right, the last house.
Basically, we're tying into elevation of 2, where the
Right.
road is,
Well, that's where it climbs.
right.
And so they're pretty much on schedule on that project, huh?
Yes, sir, and that one will also have a change order coming in on the next agenda, and that one too is probably around 10, 11,000, I'm going off of memory, and that's utility conflicts.
Right, I
minor
saw
things.
the
That
guy
one
was
too,
out
we were under
out there
budget.
today. But you 60,000 under budget on that
Correct,
project?
correct.
Okay, thank you.
You're
Mr.
welcome.
Otan?
Yeah, Sandy, I can't thank you enough and tell you how excited I am to hear about the flood wall project moving forward. And the residents in East La Rose down there are going to be so appreciative to hear that. And I'm really excited that you were already talking about phase 3, so that's a
Right,
great
that's-
thing. Only question I have is funding. We're looking okay with funding for these phase
Yes,
2
sir.
and 3?
That's 1.9 million, and this too is off of memory, is what we had left after phase 1. I'm pretty sure it's around there. We'll be fine to do everything and that's why we broke it up. We're gonna do as much as we can with the money that is left in that grant.
Awesome, I'm tickled pink. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Dustin Rabelais representing T. Baker Smith, 1100 South Acadia Road, Thibodeau. First project I have for you is Cyprian Pump Station. We're still in preliminary design, however, we are nearing the tail end of it. We did receive the boring logs from the geotech consultant. Mid last week, they were given everything they needed to go analyze a model. So we do, according to them, they feel that they'll have their report to us by the end of next week, which will be a huge step for us to go ahead and finalize the plans. Permits are received, surveys are complete. Both Leaf and I met yesterday to discuss, our upcoming meeting with the legal counsel or the district attorney on the pipeline relocation of that project. Just a few action items. Like I said, we'll have to wait on that geotech report and analyze that once we get it in. We'll still have to coordinate not only with Eagle Energy, but also the district attorney's office on what options are available to us on the pipeline and how whose responsibility it's going to be. It's really what that boils down to. And then we're still on track to receive bids prior to the end of the year for this project so that we can get into construction let me rephrase that, so we can be finished with the project before hurricane season starts next year. Next project, Waverly Road, all the survey work's complete. The hydraulic analysis is almost complete. The soil samples have been taken. Terracon also has this project. They have it. We have not received the boring logs back from this one just quite yet, but we anticipate them soon. Just to wrap this one up, once we get that hydraulic analysis complete and review the geotech report, we'll be able to provide the administration and also the council a design memo basically stating, look, these are the options you can install. Okay, this is your cost per foot. And also, we'll work with that bridge to take that bridge out of there. Because that's, at some point, we will have to deal with that bridge. Barataria Marsh Creation and Ridge Restoration. The agreement with TBS has been executed between the administration and us. We we should have one of two sub-consultants that we have partnered with on this project. Their sub-consultant agreement executed this week. But we've already begun the initial study and report phase of this project, working with the administration and Amanda Voisin with your CZM director. We're going to be applying to CPRA. It's a specific grant program they have to get some additional funds to try to propel this project a little bit further and get a little more strategically placed on the east side of Lafourche Parish. East side drainage improvements. We are still awaiting the cooperative endeavor agreement from the state of Louisiana. I would have executed my contract with the parish, okay, but I'm going to need to reference that cooperative endeavor agreement between Lafourche Parish and the state of Louisiana. I expect that before the end of this month. Once we get it, I can reference it and get it to the administration to get it, our agreement put up to be voted on. The good news is, while we don't even have the cooperative endeavor agreement between Lafourche Parish and the state of Louisiana already did kick in $406,000 to this project out of their own funds. So the reason why that number is important is, if you recall, we're going to do a phase 1 and phase 2. Phase 1 will be everything except the pump station, okay? And the reason is it's going to take a while for the state to build up the funds to build that pump station. But I needed that amount of money coupled with what we already have allocated between Lafourche Parish and Drainage District 1 to go ahead and get phase 1 of this underway. And we have been working in lockstep with the administration on that. So that is a big deal. I just found it funny that they gave us money before they ever even entered into an agreement with us. But we do have that in place. West side drainage improvements. As you may recall, their NTP or their contract began August 7th. They have not had the best of weather, but they are making progress, admittedly slow. They've cleaned about 3,600 linear feet of ditches to date. They're going to get a lot of rain delay days, but I will tell you that they are actually even out there working even in the rain. It's an area that they're able to do that. However, we're going to be starting to get into some people's backyards, and we can't, for obvious reasons, we tear up a lot of things when it's wet. Right now, it's being done in an area like behind the parish barn. It's okay to do that, but pretty soon it's not going to be okay to do that. So we'll just have to keep working with them and keep that effort coordinated. I do have two pictures here. This is just typical of a ditch regrading here, and this is also behind the parish barn near the jail. What I'll do next presentation is I'll bring some before and after pictures of these two ditches so y'all can see just exactly what we're doing. With that, any questions?
Yes.
Mr. Bourgeois.
All right, I'm going to go back to Cyprian, your first item. First question I have is the Eagle Energy Pipeline, what have you. Realistically, do we have a figure, a rough number, what it's going to cost us?
No, sir, we don't.
You don't have not even a ballpark?
I would have to get more specific information. First
Okay.
off, I don't even think it should cost us anything, okay? But there's some legal things that we've been working with the administration on. There's no way I could give you a number.
Just curious, 'cause I'm trying to track the money. And the next question, it's my understanding in about 45 days, the engines, the pumps, everything are all going to be on the ground. It's all ordered, everything coming from everywhere? Roughly, I mean.
Yeah, that is my impression roughly. Yes, sir.
Okay. You think we can break ground by then?
Not in 45 days. We're targeting mid to late November.
Okay. Just a lot of folks are anxious about it.
Hey, believe me, I'm anxious to get this one off my plate too.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Grove.
In the, around St. Genevieve Church area on the west side drainage deal, City of Thibodeau's doing some kind of sewage line. Are you familiar with that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we are too. Do you know if they finished that area? Because they were kind of waiting. They didn't want to have to dig stuff up if they put it down and then Byron Talbot comes over. Do you know if they finished their sorts of the city can put their stuff in place?
They're finished. And where that was placed was all taken into consideration with this project.
Okay.
Mr. Lorraine?
Yeah, Dustin, Scipia, when that was first put there, that was back when Dick Egley was parish president and Dave Treen was the governor. And now it definitely needs to be redone, fixed, whatever. Did you do, y'all never did the drawings yet on
We
this?
have preliminary drawings.
Preliminary? So you just said a minute ago it's gonna take 4 or 5 more months? Because this thing started PAR, and this thing started basically together. PAR is about to kick in, and you wanna really build that station like PAR, I was told.
It will have this, it's gonna have the same
Similar.
materials composition as PAR, but the design we're on today did not start at the same time as PAR LaRose.
Well, I've been up here, I've been here in PAR, and I've been here in Cyprian, and the money's always been there for Cyprian. Money is no problem. It's sitting there. In fact, they should have a surplus. Maybe I shouldn't say that too loud. They should have a surplus, depending on, I hope you don't know how much they had in there, because then we probably really won't have a surplus when you get through. But anyway, they should have one. And it's time that they move on with that thing. I hear Cyprian every day, almost every night. So do your best to get all the plans, the drawings, whatever you need to do, and get it done.
Thank you.
If I remember right, I mean, this whole station was gonna be done in-house for the longest time, and then it was
Well,
put in your lap, right?
no, well, you're partially correct. It initially started out as a new pump station with hydraulic pumps. Then it was decided that we'd attempt to do an in-house project. Then we were given the current project. And if you recall, our contract was not amended to do what we're currently doing, but for 3 months ago, okay?
Right.
Probably even less than that. We started working on this project before we even had our amendment to our agreement. We have not sat around on this. So he's right when he says that it has been around, but the scope and what was best has changed
Absolutely.
over time.
Okay, Mr. Bourgeois.
Yeah, I just want to echo what he's saying and what Daniel said. I mean, this project has gone from a square rock to a round rubber tire to, I mean, it's morphed with many different administrations, many different things.
Yeah, we can't hold his
No.
feet to the fire because it's been changed up so many times.
But in defense to what he's saying is that people are, I mean, some people want to see it in their lifetimes, and that's,
Look,
I know you want to get it off
I
your
want to
desk.
finish it in my lifetime.
Mr. LaFont.
Dustin, I just want to thank you for your hard work you've been doing and keeping projects under cost. Not only under cost, I think you even reached out with this last big rainfall on the projects going in Daniel and I's district, and you even went so far as collecting pictures to send to the state, which helped fight the argument that the project needs done. So I just want to thank you for your hard work you've been doing.
Yeah, and he brings up a good point. So Jerry was taking a lot of the pictures from some of these rainfall events. If you would, tag me in those posts if you post them, or send them to me, email them to me. I was able to convince statewide flood control that we had a flooding problem down there, fortunately. But if I had pictures to prove it, I can't always convince them, but if you have pictures to prove it with a date, the address, that goes a lot further than them just having to take my word. And I don't have a problem applying for grants and chasing money. We have a grant writer who is constantly, asking for grants or money to chase. That's all she does. So we're happy to do it. But if you have flooding in your district, please take pictures or call me to go take the
I hope you have a big email, a bunch of gigs available. You're gonna get inundated with some pictures, man. Absolutely. I think every district has problem spots that we need corrected.
Yeah, and I've met with Mr. Jimmy on this many a times. He's always been supportive of us pursuing those things. Of course, you always got to come up with a match, and that's always gonna be an issue moving forward.
Right.
But hey, look, if you can turn $1 into 3 or 4, that's a great deal.
Certainly. Okay, Mrs. Posey.
I just want to say good job on getting that money without any real proof. That just shows you either work tirelessly or have a super good relationship with those people, because that's rare that happens. So I just want to thank you and whoever helped you get that done. That's amazing.
Yeah, well, let me say this. Look, I didn't lie to anybody. I mean, what we were able to do was, fortunately, we had some historical rainfall data in 24-hour periods. So we were able to take existing models, okay, and then back into how many times you had a particular event occur in Jerry and Mr. Daniels' district, and that's what we were able to do. But not all programs accept just that kind of proof. We got lucky on this one. And obviously, it was right, because, I mean, we had homes flooding in the past month just with afternoon showers.
Right. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, Section J, Parish President, Department Heads, Directors. Oh, I'm sorry.
Heather Klingman, 314 East Bayou Road, Duplantis Design Group. All right, first project that we'll report on is Lafourche Parish Community Center. We just finished up the construction drawings, and those were sent to the state for review on 8/1. We actually did get comments back already, so we've got those from the grant reviewer, and we've been talking to the administration. A lot of the comments were about the grant documentation, you know, basically matching the current scope of work. So we're working with the administration to get all those comments addressed. This is just elevation of what the current design for the community center is going to look like. I think we had this last meeting too. Layton Pump Station, we are working on these final plans to be submitted end of next week. So that would be considered the 100% plans that are going to be submitted to GOSEP. So once we get them submitted, they'll go through their, which is usually a very tireless and long review process. Just depending on when they get finished with the review and permits coming in, you know, we can get this thing out to bid. But again, not knowing what GOSEP's schedule is, that's kind of dependent on that. Parish-wide pump station project. This one, we've got all the permits and approvals in hand, and we're looking to get these advertised beginning of October. And Timberland, basically the same thing. We're going to get these advertised at the end of September. We've got all the permits in hand and ready to go on that. Galliano Bridge repair is, I say done, substantially complete. They still have some punch list items to work on. Striping needs to be straightened out. They haven't done anything on it yet, but they have about probably 15 more days to get that completed. Based on the substantial completion date of July 28th, they are 136 days over the contract time, which I think is $60-something thousand in liquidated damages. So what we're doing right now is we are getting all the final quantities together. We're going to be a little bit under on this project, so we will be coming back with a final balancing change order. That'll be a little bit of a deduct, and then liquidated damages, you know, depending on what the administration and council wants to do on that. So I've reached out to James actually today to talk about, you know, how we handle liquidated damages and approach that. And Diplomat Way and Euclair Drive drainage improvements. Betco is the contractor on this. They really have been having, obviously, a hard time with all the rain. Every time we get a rain shower, which is every day, you know, they get inundated with the water. But they're actually doing a pretty good job. They're getting pretty close to being finished. 8/25 is their completion date. They're obviously not going to make that, but they do, you know, have some, what I think, well-deserved rain days coming. So we'll get with them and get the rain days and, you know, change orders for that done. But the project is moving along. It's coming in under budget. So I'm thinking probably if, you know, rain holds out next couple of weeks, they'll be finished on this one. Streetlight permitting, we don't have anything going on this one right now. We still have it on the agenda, but we don't have anything going on. And home elevations, we have one home elevation that I think is going to be starting soon. We're just waiting on the extension of the grant from GOSEP for that. And then we actually had one additional homeowner that contacted us probably 2 weeks ago who was interested in going ahead and moving forward on the project. Not sure if it's going to pan out, but, you know, we're just giving her all the information and letting her know what her responsibilities, you know, as far as financial is. And that's it. If there are any questions.
Mr. Bourgeois.
I just have a quick question to ask you. If we're gonna have to decide about the liquidated damages before the parish, when you do come with that, can you come with like the rain information and like the days of rain, or, I'm sure you guys have a track of that, because, I mean, to look at it, we're gonna wanna look at it and,
Yep, absolutely. We'll make sure that, that everything's in there as far as rain days. They have not requested, they being the contractor, have not requested any rain days.
no rain days?
No rain days. They have not requested any rain days to date. We've told them throughout the process, submit your rain days on a monthly basis, because there's nothing I hate more than having to go back through all the months and trying to figure out rain days. So we've told them on numerous occasions, if you want rain days, send it in with your pay request. They have not requested any rain days. So.
Thank you.
Mr. Otan.
Yeah, Daniel may have that information already on all the delay days and all that. I want to thank y'all for meeting that target date of August 1st. I know y'all cut it really close, but I thank y'all because, years of this being in the pipeline over, we're on our second administration on this. So I can't thank you enough for meeting that deadline date, and certainly hope that we keep this project, up in forefront. So thank you.
Absolutely. You're welcome.
Mr. Lorraine?
Yeah, you said they haven't requested any. You know why?
Not to date.
That was the only time they worked. I passed there every day.
I know.
And there was some days that it was drizzling pretty hard that maybe they shouldn't have been working, but they were working.
And there were
They
days
did
that
have maybe a couple of rainy days, but not much, because the sun was shining more than it was raining at that time.
Yes.
Mr.
You're
LaFont?
going to give it to us itemized.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and I just want to reiterate what Lorraine said. Had they did the work in the 120 days, there wasn't any rain at that time.
Right.
Towards the end of them finishing, then there was a lot of rain. But
Right.
but how do you know if, like you're saying, if they don't turn in a monthly or weekly, because it could be storming in Galliana and sun shining in Cutoff.
That's correct. And look, we have websites that we can go to and get very specific as far as where it rained. We also have, we actually ended up, for our construction observation portion of the contract, Clint Walker, our inspector, especially towards the end, he was out there almost every day. So we've got records, we've got daily reports from construction observations, websites where we can gather that kind of stuff if we need to.
Outstanding. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You know the engineers or architects? I couldn't see you either. I almost moved on.
Joe Piciola with Piciola and Associates, 115 Piciola Parkway in Cutoff. On our road sales tax district 24L project, we completed all the surveying and engineering. We have the design plans 95% complete. We submitted the plans to Parish for approval. We based our initial project on a $2.7 million construction budget, and now we're being told that we don't quite have that much money in the fund. So we need to meet with the councilman and discuss, and administration, and discuss, what the budget's going to be and what's going to be cut moving forward. So we're trying to set up that meeting now with you guys to get that done and move forward from here. On road sales tax district 2, 4K West 11th Street, Byron Talbot has been substantially complete, but he's doing embankment work. They have made some progress, but they still getting hit by the rain, and they're not quite complete. I expect in the next couple of weeks they'll be complete with this project. It is functioning well. Project is working really well. You just have to clean up the embankment. On the coastal pump station in Lockport, Circle LLC is the contractor. They completed steel sheet pile work last week, and they're driving some timber piles. They also have to fill the coffer dams, which they'll start doing fairly shortly. About 56% of the contract time has elapsed, and their completion time is in early December. Once they get this work done, I don't really see a whole lot of problem going forward. It should be a fairly straightforward project. And the Leeville boat launch, phase 2, the fishing pier project is complete as of July 28th. We will have a balancing change order with a reduction of $8,828.30 on the next council agenda. The only thing we have left to do is for Entergy to install power pole and hook up the meter and energize the site. And from what I'm being told, that's going to be done very shortly. And we did get a contract last week on the demolition of the Chevron Bridge. So we went ahead and we applied for a coastal use permit on that project, and we're moving forward on that project as fast as possible. Any questions?
Lafont?
What was the final cost on, what's the cost on the removal of the bridge?
The total estimated cost is around $450,000, if I remember right.
Is that what it's gonna take?
I'm hoping to do it for less. There's some salvage value, and that's all gonna go to the contractor, so.
You put it up a bid and you rewarded, you said, right?
No, we got awarded the engineering contract.
Oh, okay, all right. So
we
you didn't put it up?
applied for a permit to remove it, then we're gonna put it up for public bid.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Mr. Melvin?
Hey, Joe, any news on the permit you have to reapply for the Dugas Canal?
We're
project?
meeting with DNR on Thursday this week to discuss requests that they've made on hydraulic analysis. So David Waits' firm and Jack is going up there to Baton Rouge to meet with him to discuss
Any
that.
news on the Corps permit, or?
Basically, the way it works is you get a state permit first, then you get the Corps permit.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
Mr. Lorraine?
Yeah, Joe, that, talking about the bridge at Fouchon, by the time you bid it out and award the bid, will that be pretty much done before Christmas?
It'll probably be sometime right after the first of the year is what I'm thinking. A
Okay.
lot depends on the permitting process.
Okay.
I think it's a very straightforward permit, but, I mean, sometimes those things take a little while.
Okay, man, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other engineers? Being none, moving to Section J, Parish President, Department Heads, Directors, Managers Report, Presentation, and Updates. After seeing what was going on to our east a couple of weeks ago with the Sewage and Water Board and their pump surprise in New Orleans, I asked the administration to make us a presentation on the state of our own pump system so we can try to stay ahead of it. So Mr. James Barnes, Director of Public Works, to give a report.
Miss Marie's going to read this report, then I'm going to take the questions. But it's one thing, a couple of things I'd like to say before we get started, to where we clear on this. When this administration took over, if y'all remember right, I put on a presentation called The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Mr. Jimmy and I worked constantly. Actually, we only had $335,000 to work with, okay? I've seen us work 4 days a week here, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays in different areas to try to come up with solutions with just a little bit amount of money that we had. Then when it comes budget time of 2016 to do for 17, he was able to put more money in DPW because we all realized the pump situation was not quite up to speed. I have some gentlemen here that I explained to Mr. Jimmy. We got a direction that took a lot of task on in-house. And at one time we attempted to do it, had thought about CPRM in-house, but we had so many other problems that we had to attend to. If y'all would have seen what we seen from Jump Street, I don't know if I'd want to do that report today. But we in much better shape, so I want to let Marie continue, and I'll take the questions.
Marie Bluann, 4876 Highway 1, Matthews. On some of these that you're going to have on the report that was given to y'all, some of the engineers did give some of the updates and on those reports. I'll just kind of touch bases a little bit on those. On the Paul LaRose pump station, as they said, they had a startup that was done last Thursday. There will have a punch list that will be submitted with a few minor things that will need to be done. They should have a change order that should be on the next council agenda for a few items that was requested on that, but that will not stop the pump from being in operation. Also, DPW is currently working with the engineer to get specifications on that to add another pump there. All work will be done in-house on that. And when doing the inventory that was ordered by Parish President Cantrell, there was a 180-foot of 48-inch pipe that was located at Thibodeau Field Office that was just sitting in the grass. We're going to be able to utilize that pipe to be able for the discharge pipe on that pump. On the coastal pump station, again, that was on part of it. That was given on a presentation by the engineer earlier. That project is set to be completed by the beginning of December, and they are on schedule on that project. And there is a portable pump that is in place there that is in operation to pump in that area. Some of the projects is in the design phase. Again, this will be some of them that you will have heard with the engineering report on the Layton pump station. The Planners Design Group is the engineer on that. That's an additional 48-inch pump replacing the existing falling wooden bulkhead, replacing some old wooden trash screens with a new automatic trash rake, elevating the access road, doing some wind retrofit to the existing structure, and elevating existing pumps and some other improvements there. This is a fully granted grant by HMGP, and the final plans are to be submitted to GOSEP for their approval. On the Alleydaw pump station in District 2, this is designed for a new pump station with three 36-inch, 35,300 gallon per minute, 293 horsepower lubricated propel pumps to replace the existing ones there, and also new discharge pipes, 36-inch discharge pipes on each one of them. All South Engineer is the engineer that's assigned to this project. It is funded by a state grant and by Road Sales Tax District A. They are in the design phase at 85%. All South is currently finalizing the electrical and mechanical plans, and they are currently working with the Corps for the Corps permit has been granted, and they're still working on the permit with the railroad company. In District 5 on Timberland, this one, Heather commented on this one also. This is a grant with HMGP, and it's a design for a new 16-inch pump. All the permits are in hand. The construction plans are being finalized to submit for bids. In District 5, Dustin talked about this one with CBRM. The 3 complete 48-inch pump packages are on order. The T. Baker Smith is continuing to do their design on the pump. There was an amendment number 2 for the contract with T. Baker Smith, and council passed, I think maybe a couple of months ago, is a change order to Extreme that was to approve for the covers for those pump packages instead of having to build a building for this. In District 7, the T-Ball pump station, Sandy commented on some of this. This is part of the industrial flood wall. This will be currently working on plans for 2 pumps to be funded by a grant. DPW has funds for the 2017 and 18 budget that will be used for the 3rd pump that the grant will not cover. At this time, the pumps are still being used. And the parish-wide drainage improvements, Heather did comment on this one also. The Planners Design Group is the engineer. It is funded by MGP grant. And some of the improvements are like at Al Robichaud for the automatic trash rakes to be upgraded. Butch Hill, the same thing, and elevate the access road. At Gidry is to access the automatic trash rakes and elevate the access road. Little Al would be to automatic trash rakes, Old Valentine automatic trash rakes and elevate the access road. Rita's for New Shelton automatic trash rakes. Yankee Canal is for the new platform, Shelton to elevate some of the electrical equipment that they have had problems in the past with high tides, that they have had problems with the water coming up and affecting some of that electrical equipment. All the permits are in hand and the construction drawings are being finalized for bidding. Now, this is going to be some of the completed projects that, this was done with the Corporate Endeavor Agreement that was done with North Lafourche Levee District at Par Pump number 4. They had a 48-inch low-lift pump with a Isuzu engine that was installed there. And this pump has been installed also with an automatic start-stop. Now, this is going to be some of the in-house projects that have been, that's either in the planning stage or they're in the working stage and pending stages. At the Layton Pump Station, on pump number 4 and number 5, there's a current problem with the floodgates, where there's only 4 bolts that's actually holding the gate in place, and they felt that there was a problem that could possibly, if that failed, where we would have tremendous problems in flooding. So they have not been working those pumps. Currently, the mechanic department has just recently received quotes to temporarily fix those gates until there's an upgrade that's done on that pump station, which is part of a grant that the Planners is working on. The mechanic department will schedule a diver, crane, and a crew as soon as the weather permits. You want to stop now?
I just had a quick question. On these boats, that's been, y'all been giving these reports like since we first got in, since y'all first took over,
Correct.
and that's been up there. Is that like a very expensive thing to fix? I mean, I think the boats,
James might be able to answer that for you.
Michael lay underwater. We had to build a containment, a steel containment, put it in the water, run some 6-inch pumps. The boats that hold on the gates are in the concrete wall, okay? These boats are starting to come loose. But also what has got bad is the hinge pins. They got the hinge pins where
Mr. James, can you talk into your mic, please? We can't hear you on this end.
what it is, we have multiple problems. The gates that fit on the wall, the front wall of the pump station, these boats are starting to get loose, come loose. Also on these gates, they have big hinges. When these flap gates open, these pumps probably operating under 2 to 3 feet of water, maybe 4 feet of water. Am I correct, Gary? Okay. So these pins right here, we can't wait any longer to do something with these pins. Because if these 2 gates come off, we could potentially flood Thibodaux. So we are, like I say, in the process of making a move. We didn't know this grant and all of this would take this long for them to go in there and fix it. But the parish has got to take a stand and do something.
Thank you.
Okay, in District 2, at the Elsie Pump Station, the public bids were received for a new 8-inch trash pump. M&L Engine submitted the lowest bid. The pump is currently on order and will replace the existing pump that's in place. At the Lejeune Pump Station, we're going to refurbish the entire pump station, remove the engine from the discharge pipe, replace the foundation, a new building, new discharge pipe, change the gearbox, and we're basically doing the same thing of what we did at Rink just a couple of months ago. DPW is currently working on the quotes for the materials needed. The pump is still working, and I know that we had recently a problem with a leak on the discharge pipe, and there's a ban that's been put on that discharge pipe to stop that until they can get to the refurbishing of this. You want to stop now, Lucy?
Yeah, that Lejeune pump, I know, Ms. Stockman's here right now. Man, I'm just concerned. I know you're trying to hang on until you do anything to refurbish that, but I'm concerned it won't make it through hurricane season. That discharge pipe, I know you put bands on it, but how well did that work? And what's our backup plan if it doesn't make it through hurricane season? It's just very concerning, the condition of that pump. Yeah.
Wayne Bro, Lafourche Parish Government, works for Lafourche Parish Government, Mechanic Supervisor, address 4837 Highway 1. We're in the process right now of finishing up Clotilda Pump Station, which is basically in Lockport. In the process of that, we had other stations going on, not knowing this one would fail, but we're also getting everything together. We're gonna move forward with this one right after we finish with Clotilda, because it's an in-house project. We're in the process of getting all materials to move forward on this one next, after we finish with Clotilda.
So you mean before hurricane season? Because we'd have to have a,
We're planning on finishing, hopefully with Clotilda at the end of next month. Next month.
do we have a temporary pump to put in its place while that one's being worked on?
At Clotilda?
No, at Lejeune.
We can have one there, yes.
I mean, there's no way we could not have one, especially if
We have hydraulic pumps that are movable if we
Okay.
need to.
I mean, that area couldn't go without a pump.
No,
Lucy, let me correct something on this. We have no portable pumps without taking one out of service of what we got somewhere else, okay? We would have to rent one or do whatever we need to do. But I am gonna get Dennis and Dean, our welders, as soon as they kind of get caught up, just a minute, to go out there. They have solved some tremendous problems in the discharge pipes in Edgar Guidry, Butch Hill, that these guys, everybody that concerns with the pumps, they do a great job. So we're gonna try to see what else we can do. But if all else fails, we'll rent a pump. And then further on in this presentation, you're gonna see what we're planning on do to retrieve some of the hydraulic pumps that we have to have in case of an emergency.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, on Sugar Ridge, the pump is still working. They're doing an upgrade to the control panel. Quotes were received from M&L, E3 Electrical, and Rico Rental. M&L submitted the lowest quote. The control panel is on order with M&L. In District 5, the Lake Long Pump Station is a complete new pump package that was purchased and needs to be installed. Currently has a working pump in place. The new pump package is on schedule to be put in place once, like Wayne was saying, on some of these other projects that needed to be completed that did not have a pump that was working. In Lower Pontchartrain, a complete new pump package is on order and should be in later this month. And there is currently a pump that is working at that pump station. At the Butch Hill Pump Station, the pump needs to be replaced. Also, some of the pumps will need to be updated and rebuilt along with the engine. But currently, all pumps are working at that pump station. At Magnolia, the building will need to be replaced. And in some of these, since it has come up with CBRM about the covers, that there's a possibility of, instead of building a new building and getting these covers and saving some money in that process. At Texas Gulf Electric, the electric starter needs to be replaced. Again, there we just need some dry weather for one of the electricians to be able to go out to install that starter, but the pump is still currently working. In District 7, Clotilda number 3, the pump foundation has been redone. The new bowl section has been purchased, and currently DPW is working on the installation of that bowl section. They also redoing the discharge pipe, and that should be completed by September the 18th. That's their hopes, depending on, again, on weather. But there is another pump that is working at that station. Clotilda number 2, the rebuilding of the pump that went out at the beginning of the month. The parts are in order and should be complete by the end of this month. And again, there is a pump that's working there. At Ravenwood, the structure is rotten and needs to be replaced. DPW does have the money in the budget for this year for that project, and the plans are also to convert it from belt-driven to a gearbox. And those plans are to start that project later on this year, but the pump is working with no problems. At PAR number 2, the engine needs to be replaced and has a tremendous blow-by and is under horsepower. The pump needs, also the prop needs to be, have the pitch put back in. We will be putting the specifications together to advertise for bids for that engine at this time, but it is still being used. McLeod Electric, the pump went out, and that was approved by council at the last council meetings for a new 28-inch low-lift pump that is on order, but the diesel pump there is still in operation. In District 9, this is the East Golden Meadow pump, and this is also going to be part of that Highway 308 drainage improvements. The plans are to install a second electric pump there. DPW recently was made aware that there was a second pump there several years ago that had been removed by the previous administration and had never been put back in. Also part of the plan with the Highway 308 improvements is to include the installation of a gas generator for these pumps to run on gas as needed. This is going to be some of the completed in-house projects that's been done this year. Little Owl Pump Station, the gearbox was changed, pump was rebuilt, and they changed the fuel tank on that pump station. The mobile and hydraulic pumps, in the past, we had tremendous mechanical issues on those two hydraulic pumps there. Fortunate enough, this year we have not had those problems. Everything seems to be working great. They changed the float switches, and they also upgraded that fuel tank there from 1,000 to 3,000 gallon tanks. At Emerald Park, they upgraded the fuel regulator and repaired a water tank leak on a muffler. Rink Pump Station, they completely refurbished that entire pump station. They removed the engine that was on the discharge pipe. They replaced the foundation, a new building, and replaced the discharge pipe at the same time, and that was all done in-house. Bayou Buff Electric, the electric motor was replaced. DeZalman's Electric, the electric motor was replaced. Peltier Pump Station, we replaced the Detroit engine that was failing there with one of the John Deere engines that was one that was bought with surplus, with the state surplus that we had that was in stock. Rotary number 7, the engine was rebuilt by LPG Mechanics and replaced. 24-inch portable pump at Sugar Ridge, the hydraulic motor was rebuilt, and the LPG employees pulled and installed that rebuilt hydraulic motor. And District number 4, Thoroughbred Pump Station number 2, we replaced the engine there with a new engine, installed an automatic start-stop, and they readjusted the floats. Thoroughbred number 1, they installed an automatic start-stop, and by Blue Bypass, they installed some new floats there. In District number 5, Lake Dry Pump Station, they replaced the pump and the engine there. Magnolia number 2 replaced the engine with a spare used engine that they had available. Butch Hill number 4, the pump station was replaced. At that pump station, they replaced the engine with one that was on hand. And at the Bayou Blue Recreation Pump, they installed a new shaft and new bearings. In District 6, natural gas number 3, they rebuilt the 48-inch pump and also installed an automatic start-stop on number 3 only. In District 7, at Gagudry number 2, there was a complete bowl section that was replaced. Valentine New, the pump was replaced with a new pump from Extreme. And in Lulenvine number 1, they rebuilt the pump. This is some of the pumps that's on the list to be converted to automatic float systems, some in 2017, some in 2018. For Raceland with the 1 of 12 pump station, number 1 and number 2, that covers in District number 5, both 36-inch pumps. Crest number 1, again for the Raceland field office in District 5, a 36-inch pump. Home Place, Lockport, District 6, 36-inch. Par number 3, Lockport, District 7, 48-inch pump. Eunice Alamo, Lockport, District 7, 30-inch pump. Clotilda number 2, Lockport Field Office, District 7, 30-inch pump. Little Owl, Thibodeau Field Office, District 2, 36-inch pump. Rita Diesel, Lockport Field Office, District 7, a 20-inch pump. And 101 pump for the Choctaw Field Office, District 2, 24-inch pump. Mm-hmm.
What determines which ones get put on automatic floats first? Because, I know I'd like to see all of our pumps on automatic, although there are problems sometimes, but what determines which one gets it first?
I think yours is going to be last.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about.
It's no magical number or equation that we use. Right now, we're trying to get an automatic start-stop on stations, at least on one pump. At stations has multiple pumps. Also, on the stations that just has one pump, an automatic start-stop is very important. So, this will come together pretty quick. Like I say, we've been working tirelessly at trying to get all of this stuff accomplished, and it will happen.
I guess in the future, I'm looking, none of Jerry Jones's pumps are getting, and maybe they're all already on automatic floats.
No, I don't
Is that the
think-
case? Okay. He said they,
Gary? Two hydraulics at Movant and West Camellia.
I guess in the future, I'd like to know, all of these, are there any more other than these that are not
Oh,
on
yes,
automatic
ma'am.
floats?
There's more to come. This is just what's scheduled for right now.
Okay, I guess I'd like to know which ones aren't as well, like the whole list of which ones aren't.
I'll be glad to get that
All right.
for you.
Thanks.
Okay, on the portable pumps that we have, the several portable pumps that are being used at several of the pump stations. We have a 24-inch that's at the Sugar Ridge East, 24-inch that's also at the Lewis Pump Station, another 24-inch that's at the Zalman's Pump Station, 30-inch that's being used at Jake Pump Station, 30-inch that's also at the Coastal Pump Station while that pump station is under construction. As a 30-inch hydraulic pump that's being used at Cibrian. 30-inch hydraulic pump that's also as a permanent pump at Sugar Ridge. As a 30-inch that's being used at Sugar Ridge West. A 36-inch that's being used at Remy Pump Station. And then there's a two 48-inch D&D hydraulic pumps that's installed at the Mobile Pump Station. Also, we have some portable pumps that's on trailers for each one of the field offices. There's some 6-inch Wacker pumps that was purchased several years ago from Rico Rental. There's one that's currently being used at Midway for the Choctaw field office. Another one that's been used that belongs to Choctaw field office is also being used at the West Camellia Pump Station. And then the one for the Racing field office is also being used at 4 Point. Currently, right now, the Bayou Blue, Thibodeau field office, Galliano, and Lockport field office pumps are available for use as needed. It is the goal of the parish president to have all of these portable pumps replaced with refurbished pumps, and to have all of these portable pumps available for use as needed for whenever there would happen to have a pump that would go down. DPW is currently looking into this process to refurbish pumps and to replace the portable pumps. The rebuilt pumps by districts, we had in 2016, if you look at each one of the districts up there, District 1 and 2, we had one that was at the late number 2. District number 2, we had 5 last year. That was at Midway, Movant, number 1, Sugar Ridge East, Sugar Ridge, Lewis Tractor Pump, and Remy Tractor Pump Station. District number 5, we had 2 at Butch Hill number 1 and Butch Hill number 4. District number 7, we had Edgar Guidry. We had 3 Edgar Guidry number 1, Lulabon and Company canals. So we had a total of 11 last year. So far in 2017, we've had 5. 2 in District 6, which was Little Owl and Rink. District 2, we had Little Owl and Rink. In District 6, we had 1, which was natural gas number 3. And District number 7, we had 2, which was Edgar Guidry number 1 and Lulabon number 1. The engines that was replaced and rebuilt by districts in 2006, 2016, and we had 7. In District 2, we had 1, which was at Mike B's pump station. District 5, we had 3 at Butch Hill number 2, Magnolia number 2, and Cibriam number 1. At District 7, we had 3, Al Robichaud, Par number 3, and T-Bar number 3. And so far this year, we've had 5. one in District 2, which was Roderick 7. District 4, we had one, which was Thurber at number 2. And in District 5, we had 3, which was at Lake Drive, Magnolia number 2, and Butch Hill number 4. This here is a breakdown of pump stations and pumps, parish-wide and broken down by district. You can see by each district that's on here. With total parish-wide, we have 79 pump stations with 157 pumps that's maintained.
I got a question.
Jerry, go ahead.
District 8, where do I have pumps?
I'm sorry?
Y'all got me down for pumps. I don't have pumps in District 8. I got levee board pumps only. Unless y'all put some pumps I didn't know about.
You know which one?
Anybody?
Tonight?
So,
Gremion for
y'all
sure.
might want to allocate those to somebody else. I don't have any pumps in my district.
Oh, I thought Gremion was in your district.
No, that's not. That's Ormond.
Okay, well, we'll correct that.
I'm just saying, y'all putting me down for 3 pumps. I don't have any pumps.
Okay.
That's why I'm asking them to support my boat launch, since I don't have to spend no money on pumps.
So Gremion's not, Gremion's in District,
Right? I don't have no pumps. I got one parish, one levee district pump in my district.
okay, we'll correct that.
Nick, don't we have electric pump? Is Nick here? Don't we have electric pump down 25th, one of them streets on the east side, electric pump? Huh?
Yeah, East 23rd, that is one electric pump that's there.
East 23rd.
Oh,
okay.
good. I didn't even know about that one. I have to go check it out.
Well, you just.
All right, let's get back on track here.
Okay, but anyway, parish-wide, we have 79 pump stations with 157 pumps that's maintained. And when we talk about in-house projects, this is the people that we basically look to do these projects. You have 7 mechanics with a mechanic supervisor, you have 2 welders, and you have 2 electricians that's basically doing the work with the employees at the field offices. Not to mention the other equipment, bridges, vehicles that they are maintaining also. And in conclusion, in this report, with this program that Parish President Cantrell and DPW Director James Warren has put together with doing the majority of the repairs of the work and repairs in-house, it's estimated that we have saved $3.5 million on pump repairs.
Nice work.
I got a question.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Mr. LaFont. You still trying to find your pump?
Yeah, I just want to know, on 23rd Street, where is it at and what does it pump out? If y'all could please just inform me. I didn't even know they had a pump back there.
Nicholas Guidry, Lafourche Parish Government, Region Seabourn, Highway 308, Lockport. It's about 3/4 of the way down the street. If you're familiar in the area that you live in, that's that Oak Ridge that runs along the back. The pumps there just simply pump the water over the ridge.
Over that ridge, that ditch is not big enough to get it through like everywhere
Oh,
else?
It's a big ditch, but
Right.
it would have to be wider in order to maintain the depth. That's why they just pump it over the ridge.
Okay, all right, I'll go check it out. Thank you, Nick, appreciate it.
Mr. Jones.
Yeah, Mr. Bourne, thank you for the report. It shows me that you're on top of your game, and shouldn't be no reason why we shouldn't keep you another 2 years. So, but I also want to give a shout out to these pumpers. These pumpers are the most important thing in this parish here. So we need these. So keep up the good job. I know the obstacles you went through this last year and a half, but staying there just for the parish's sake. Thank y'all.
Mrs. Posido.
Yeah, the work y'all can do in-house also. Well, first of all, just the work that you all get done with such few employees, it's unbelievable. I think we can all say that we're amazed by how much y'all can actually accomplish, especially during storms and rain events. But this level of expertise for you all to do this work in-house, I know, that hasn't happened in the parish before, so I don't know which changed. Is it Mr. Barnes? Is it Mr. Cantrell? Or what caused the change in switching from having everything sent out to doing it in-house, but I'm just grateful for all the work you all do. We really appreciate it.
Mr. Grove?
Yeah, I wanted to just mention, since y'all were here, you know, I know a lot of y'all worked on that Abigail Ditch project, and the guy couldn't thank me enough and I said, look, it's not me. He's like, I've never seen people work that hard in my life. You know, they get on a tractor and never get off all day working. He said, I'm feeding them tomorrow morning, come by. So I know y'all did a really good job. And just the response time from James and his team has been unbelievable. I mean, you call something in, and they called me back that they met with him that afternoon or early the next morning. I'm really appreciative of that, and y'all coming tonight. Y'all got to be back at it early tomorrow morning. So thank you for being here.
Mr. Melvin?
Yes, I'd like to thank DPW and the pumpers, especially Mr. James, and for Mr. Cantrell for appointing Mr. James, because response time has been incredible. And, you know, there's some things you can say about NFL teams that just look good on paper, but what do you see when you put the product on the field and you're paying all that money? Running a parish is not cheap, and good help is hard to come by. And I believe that Mr. Barnes, you know, I'll give you an example. The parish does not function without Ms. Gwen as a receptionist, so it starts there, okay? But some people have greater responsibilities, and I think Mr. Barnes, due to Mr. Cantrell's appointment, has been one of the main forces in this parish to keep people high and dry and to keep us functioning. So thank y'all so much.
But you know, you can give all the kudos to the top, but it's everybody that does the groundwork in the field that makes it happen, Captain. So thank y'all for everything y'all do for this parish. And that goes out to all the employees of the parish. So that's the backbone right there.
Mr. Chairman, I wonder if we got to sign Mr. Barnes with the NFL contract.
Yeah.
Uh,
All right.
I'd like
We're
to-
going to move to, go ahead, sir.
I'd like to say one thing. I'd like to thank the councilman. You know, this has always been a team effort. I know Mr. Jimmy's got a big background in construction, and I do too. I'm not the type of person to give up, but I have some good employees. And Mr. Jimmy and I committed to this, and I'm going to say this on Tony's behalf. Tony has did an excellent job. I was here when the way the permit department was set up. Tony does a tremendous job in his department. So if this resolution happens to come back up, and I'm going to ask the council to please support it, and I hope Mr. Cantrell supports it. And then it'll go to the Civil Service Board, which it can still be shot down. But if we don't put an effort into it, I don't feel like mine and Tony's time is up. We still have a job at hand that we would like to finish. And I thank Mr. Cantrell again for giving me the opportunity and also giving me the money to work with. And I have spent tremendous hours with him. So, thank y'all.
All right, sir. Ms. Sposito.
James, I guess what I'd like to ask you is, you know, the 2-year is like a honeymoon period. So you see if you can work with him, he sees if he can work for you, everybody sees if it works out. And I guess we're being told that if this extension doesn't happen, then you're going to go back to the board, or Tony would go back to his position. And if y'all have such a great working relationship, why would you and Tony fear termination if, you know, we're all sitting here singing both of your praises? Why would you both feel that you should fear being terminated within the next 2 years if in fact Mr. Cantrell recognizes the job that you both are doing, and that you know, you have such a good relationship with him? I think this happens in a lot of cases where you know, this honeymoon period ends and people have to make a decision. So I'm just curious as to if you could answer that question for me.
Yes, ma'am, I'll be glad to answer that question. First thing is, I like to be protected, knowing that I got a place to go back to. I don't want to be without a job, insurance, and so forth at my age. So it has no bearings on Mr. Cantrell. That's my decision. I took the 2-year leave. We see a window that we can extend it to 48 months. And that's what we would like to do, is extend it to 48 months. Because things can go, you know, it can go bad or it can stay good.
So do you fear you could lose your job? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I want to be protected, whether it's at the barn or another position under civil service. I come out of civil service and I took my 2 years, and now we see an opportunity to make it 48 months. And I'm not going to work without that security blanket.
Mr. Cantrell, have you gone to civil service yet or is that your plan to go to civil service and request this?
We're looking at a lot of things, and if it doesn't work with civil service, I have some other options that I can do with Tony and Ms.
With
Barnes.
Tony and James?
Mr. Barnes.
Mr. Bourgeois.
Mr. Barnes and Mr. Breaux, I'm addressing this to you too. I don't know who you gotta be afraid of, because you're the only two people that I think all 10 of us at this table all like.
I didn't say I was afraid of nothing.
We said you were, be protected, I mean, you know,
Well,
I'm just saying. You two gentlemen are probably the only that all 10 of us at this table like, and we all like you that much because you do an outstanding job.
You don't realize what I went through in 2015 with the last administration, okay? Being accused of something that's not right. I spent a ton of money to win my case. I wish I could have just got the right people on the stand, because I was going to burn them. And I'll tell you straight up, that was 4 months. And when that weighs on a person's mind, you want to stay protected. Not that you can't be fired from civil service. I'm not saying that. But it gives you a little bit of leisure and a security blanket of some sort. I know I can do my job. And I know Tony can do his job. So until you experience that and have to do what I did, and there's people here in this room that actually testified against me. They're some of my best workers. When I walked in and I took over, I told them the past is the past. They had a boss at the time. I'm not faulting them people, and not going to tomorrow. I know who was behind it all. So until you go through that and you spend $15,000 of your own money, then you'll understand what I'm asking for.
I would want the protection too, sir. Absolutely. Mr. Melvin.
I'm going to unpull 22 when we get to it. I'm going to unpull 22. I'd like to have a second on that when we get to it.
Pulled it off.
I think you have to put on the next agenda.
That's right.
The meeting didn't close.
Can you amend it
That's
from the
right.
floor?
He pulled it. You didn't defer it. You got to reintroduce it.
Defer it, you pulled it.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir, Mr. Jones.
If I'm in order, I would like to put it on the next agenda, and I also would like the prior president to give us some support on it, if you don't mind. So, if amendment from the administration and the council go to the civil service, I don't see why it should be rejected. So, you can mark me down for the next agenda for that item.
All right, so, right. So, we're in section K. Any other questions for the administration? Go ahead, Mr. Lafont.
Mr. Cantor, I just want to ask if y'all could look into something, please, and please make it happen. In 2015, I amended the budget and put in capital projects. The town of Golden Meadow asked for $150,000 to help fix the seawall, which was leaking, to save the citizens of Golden Meadow from flooding. So I put it on there for the mayor, Mr. Buziga. And I'm going to tell you 2 minutes before we voted on it, he called me, he sent me a text and said, look, man, we don't need the 150, all we need is 100. And I think that was honorable of him to call up and say that 2 minutes before we voted on it. However, it was voted on, it's in capital projects, capital outlay projects. In 2015 it was there, 2016 is there. I'm not seeing it in the capital outlay project, but I know it's still in there. It's Fund 15033. It's a project that's completed, and I think we need to pay the man and pay the town of Golden Meadow. It was a joint venture, if I remember right, between the parish, the state, Golden Meadow, Levy District, and the Port Commission, I believe in saying. So, and our share was $100,000. So if y'all could check into it, they completed the work. They have to pay the contractors and everything on it. It's for $100,000. It's 15033. If y'all could, I appreciate it. And Mayor, I don't know if you want to say anything. I know you're waiting for reimbursement. All right, thank you. I just want to make y'all aware. I had one more thing. Let's see where it's at. Administration, I just want to thank the team back there. I tell you what, we've been getting rain like I never seen rain before, and I get calls and calls and calls, and I know you guys out there busting your butt every day, all the time, and really out there. And I just want to thank y'all for doing what y'all do to keep water out of people's houses. Y'all, I've been going right around, and look, y'all doing a great job, because I'm going to tell you, the city of Orleans got 6 inches of rain in 2-3 hours. The other day, we got 6 inches of rain in 45 minutes, and y'all kept it out of people's houses. So I want to stand up, and I'm going to thank you guys.
I agree.
And the crazy thing about it is the city was just awarded, they spent billions of dollars on that drainage project and couldn't keep it out of people's houses. And you guys do it with pennies. Thank y'all.
Is that it? Okay, Ms. Esposito?
This question's for Mr. Haas. Can I ask you, is anyone receiving copies of your emails? To your knowledge, is anyone receiving copies of your email? When someone emails you, is anyone else getting a copy or have access to your email? Just
Not as of recently. I think Mr. Jimmy gets CC'd on them.
No, I just mean like your mailbox is available to whomever, or they just get a copy is automatically sent to them, or they can automatically see that.
No, myself and Mr. Jimmy.
So Mr. Jimmy gets.
And that was just done recently.
Okay. I was just curious. Next question is, Mr. Jimmy, to your knowledge, has anyone else complained about their office being entered into when they're not there, any personal property being destroyed or anything. To your knowledge, has anyone else in the parish complained about that?
Some people thought, they're not sure. I don't know if mine was broken into either. I'm not sure because some things were, you know, misplaced around. And there's a lot of things, it may be that just got misplaced by accident or something. But there's a few people that,
Is the HR director one of those, Miss Emily? Is she one of those people?
I'm not commenting on that right now until we get more information.
So you just don't want to comment on it?
Not at present, yes, ma'am, I sure don't.
Okay, because if the HR director's office has been, let me ask you, has the locks on her door been changed recently? Or since she's been in her position, have the locks on the HR director's door been changed?
No, I don't know right now, I really don't know.
You don't know?
No.
Okay, so if the HR director's office had been compromised, and that would really...
Miss Lucy.
No, I'm just saying...
Miss Lucy, till we find out more information, I just want to drop it.
Okay, if I could know by the close of business on Thursday, because I would like to know that contains all employee social security numbers, health issues, including the DA's office employees, the library.
I agree.
If that office has been compromised, I think we employees should know.
We don't know that, you know, that's.
I mean,
not a fact.
I would think, it must not be, because I'd imagine that you of all people would have been told, and like something would have happened to address this, but, so I'm hoping it hasn't been.
Well,
But can
we
Miss
don't-
Emily answer me by close of business on Thursday?
Well, she really doesn't know yet either.
She doesn't know if her office has been
she's not-
compromised?
Well, I don't want to comment anymore on it, okay, please? It's a first, till we find out more about it.
But you understand?
So there is something to look into in this situation.
Maybe and maybe not.
Okay, it's just very concerning to me.
It is to me too. If anybody gets broken,
You know,
it's very concerning.
anyone, yes. I mean, the legislative office has been compromised countless times, and now I'm being told that the HR department has been compromised as well, which that puts all of us here in a vulnerable situation, and that something's got to be done if that has happened. And at least we all need to be told that this has happened so we can maybe watch our credit, our social security numbers have been exposed, or something, like we should know if it's happened. So if you and Miss Emily can answer those questions by close of business Thursday, that would be awesome.
Well, I want to talk to her.
And let's see if I had something. Terrio boat launch update. I know Paul is now gone. What's happening with the Terrio boat launch?
I don't really know right now, know what's happening.
Mr. Haas, do you know
Mr.
what's
Haas
happening
may
with the Terrio boat launch?
I'd have to give with Ms. Jennifer on the specifics. I do know it's moving forward. I think we had either a change order or it was going out to bid. I'm not sure on that.
Nothing's come before the council on as far as a change order, so.
Yeah, I had to get with her. I know she has talked about it.
Can someone let me know by close of business
Yes, ma'am,
Thursday?
absolutely.
Awesome. That's it.
Mr. Jones?
Yes, I had an email this week. Ms. Carleen, I forwarded it to you. Can you read that email I got?
Yes, sir. And I think Gretchen has some slides to put up, but I also put copies at your seats so y'all could see them. This is from Deanna and Michael Lafourche. We would like a status update on the drainage project on the corner of Abbey Road and Lake Howard. The attached pictures. Ms. Pat, could you turn the lights off so they could see it? The attached pictures show the amount of sediment that has gathered in the pipes and the excessive vegetation in the ditch. Per conversations at the beginning of 2017, we were informed that funding for completion of this project was in the budget and on the schedule. Construction was supposed to start March 2017. We have not heard from anyone to date. When I asked for an update in June 2017, the only individual that I heard back from was Councilman Jones. He informed me that the project was funded and everything is ready to go, but the parish president was holding it up. Both my husband and I have been extremely accommodating regarding the entire situation. Let me remind you that this ditch is 3 feet outside of the parish's servitude, encroaching on our property. We did not grant permission for this encroachment, nor were we compensated for it. Frankly, we are very concerned about the way that this project has been handled. There has been a lack of communication, starting with the permitting of our original culverts on Abbey. This has continued when we were not notified by the parish that our driveway would be broken to complete construction of the Abbey Road drainage. During construction, the contractor pointed out to the parish that there will be a sediment issue in the pipe, and this is the picture she was referring to. The parish chose not to issue a change order. Several times we have pointed out these issues and have received no timeline on completion of the project. We hope that both our property and those in Abbey Lakes do not end up flooded due to the negligence and incomplete drainage project that has lingered on for no good reason. Let me be clear. We will not allow the parish on our property to redig this ditch. If the drainage project cannot be completed, we will be seeking compensation for the encroachment on our property. Deanna and Michael Lafont.
All right, thank you, Ms. Carleen.
You're welcome.
There's $200,000 in the budget for this project to be completed. When will this project be completed?
We at the point we'll have to sign an engineer for this.
We're gonna have to sign an engineer for it.
Yes.
200 feet of pipe, I think it need. We just spent about $700,000 on the drainage on Abbey Road. And with this 200 feet can fill up all that drainage on Abbey Road. The problem we had in the past, all these houses in Abbey Lakes are flooding. We need to do something about this. How soon can you think we have an engineer on this job?
Just as soon as the administration moves on it.
So we need a request from the administration to hire an engineer on a resolution form?
Jerry, I had looked in it and did got plenty of quotes on it. And actually it would put DPW out of compliance with the federal bid law if we try to do this in-house.
Right.
And I did all of that already.
Okay, so all we need to do is hire an engineer.
Yes.
And that's my question. When can we get this from the administration? A request to hire an engineer for this 200 feet of pipe to solve this problem.
Anyone?
You're not going to answer me, Jimmy?
Jerry, I'm gonna look into it, and as soon as I can move on it, I'm gonna try to move on it.
Well, Jimmy, we've been talking about moving on this project since the first of the year. And you assured these people in March the job was going to start. And March is about to come again. What is it? I have no clue, or you misspoke. So I want you to tell these people that you're not going to do the job. If that's what you're saying, stand up and you tell them you're not going to do the job.
Mr. Jones, I didn't say that. You don't put words. Tonight, I'm hearing it, and I'm gonna look into it. I have other things to do. We have other projects we work on. We have a lot of other factors that we had to do when this rain events, all these rain events that happen. And just not one thing that I do all day long. And so I'll look into it, and we'll see what we can do to move it forward.
Well, it's been raining this last month, but this has been going on since the first of the year.
Well,
So next month, I'm gonna ask you that again. And I have another presentation. Make sure it's dry.
Mr. Grove.
I just want to thank everybody for voting on the engineering for the Abbey Road overlay. That's a project I've been talking about since January 1st of this year and last year. I'm getting emails every day at Leaf and forwarding them to everybody. In the meantime, if we can do some patchwork over there. In the last couple weeks with all the rain, it seems like it must be failing more than at a faster rate. I'm getting emails almost every day about it, questioning what's going on. So if we can get some patchwork done and try to move forward, if there's money in the road sales tax district, let's get that done. Also, Leaf, if you can follow up with me sometime this week about that CEA with Rec District 7. I know you were comparing some things with Jennifer. If we can get together on that, I'd like it. Okay?
Yes, sir, I got the CEAs from her today. I actually printed them out. I actually passed them on to Mr. Jimmy for his review as well, and then we can sit down with you and talk it out on the details of it.
All right, thank you. Next section, Section L, council reports, presentations, updates, and our questions. We have a letter from one of my constituents that I think he sent it to
Mr. President Cantrell,
Mr. Cantrell and copied myself. Who else?
Mr. Barnes, and Mr. Representative Gisclair.
Mr. Barnes and Truck Gisclair. So if you would read that, please.
Parish President Jimmy Cantrell. In Central Lafourche subdivision, we have a very serious problem. The drainage ditches have been dug so deep over the last 20 years that the subterranean sludge has started to seep into the ditches. At one time, the ditches were only 18 inches deep and the topsoil was still above the water level. After a rain, the ditches were drained dry. After the state drainage ditched along Highway 1 was filled in to allow entrance into parking lots, we began to flood. In a heavy thunderstorm, the water has no place to go but to the already overworked parish drainage pumps. Every time there's a large amount of rain, this sludge is pumped out into the canals. Mr. Perlew has observed water going into a hole on the side of the ditch under my yard. I put some food coloring in the water, hoping to see where it came back into the ditch, but the return water never came out again. There is a misconception that the sinking of the land is caused by decaying of vegetation. A close examination of the ditches will clearly show that the sludge below the topsoil is pushing out like a tube of toothpaste and pumped out into the drainage pumps. The only way to maintain the integrity of the topsoil is to replace the missing topsoil with culverts. With this last rain up to August 12, 2017, the damage to the structure of my house has more than doubled. Once the sludge moves from under the main structure, I don't think anything will be able to be done. I would also ask that the ditches at the front of the subdivision are 1 foot deep to meet the depth of the state ditches. This would be approximately 1,000 linear feet into the subdivision. I ask that the state clean out the state ditches and also drain the culverts under the highway. This will ensure that a natural drainage is allowed to take place. Sincerely, Frank Onkow.
Thank you, Ms. Carleen.
You're welcome.
Mr. Bagala is not going to be making a presentation. He's doing training. He left tonight to be in Alexandria in the morning. That's right. His report has been distributed to everyone tonight. Section M.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, Mr. Bourgeois.
I'm sorry, and I'm just going to beat this. I think most people know that I'm pretty much here all the time. I've never heard Mr. Bagala give a report. I understand he's got training this time. We had a late flight. He was sick. LSU was in the quarterfinals. He did read a press release at one meeting. It's only one report a month. We've got significant people of Public Works over there. We've got Doug here from the Attorney General's office. I know he's not being paid anymore. We've got Ms. Hill. We've got the mayor of Golden Meadow. People make all these meetings all the time. And I just have to question, you got one report a month, and it seems that I haven't seen him give one. And I just have to question.
The last one he gave, you weren't here, sir.
I was at military duty for one council meeting. Other than that, I haven't seen him give a report.
Mr. Otan.
Yeah, I would respectfully submit that all you have to do is communicate with Reggie. I wouldn't wait for the one time a month for a report. If there's something you need, go to him, because he communicates very well with I know myself, I can't speak for the others, but he's very responsive. So, don't wait for that once a month for whatever it is you need. Go straight to him. He'll get it to you.
Mr. LaFont?
Yeah, I was just going to reiterate what Councilman Otan said, but if you think this internal auditor didn't make a report, you should have been here for the last one. He never showed up.
Mr. Jones.
Yeah, I got to echo what Mr. LaFont said. Reggie does a fantastic job on legislative audit. If you'd have been here at the last legislative audit, we said a report once a month. We never get it. They said 40 hours a week, come in at 11, 12, 1 o'clock. You know, so we never had a report. I think Reggie's doing a great job, and maybe sometime you need to call him. And if
Yeah,
you need
I'll call
a
him and
report,
go visit him
get
if
it.
you need something, for sure. Miss Lucy?
Councilman Bourgeois, I think this is not the first time you've brought up his time off, and I think it's inappropriate. As parish employees, whether you're appointed or whether you're civil service, you earn time off, whether that be sick time or vacation time. If he's taken off during and used that time, whether it be sick or otherwise, I don't believe it's appropriate for you to sit in a public forum and comment on him using his time that he earned. I just believe that's inappropriate. So you do with that what you will, but if I would be Mr. Bagala, I would have a problem with that.
He doesn't
Secondly-
return my calls, okay? You want to know it? I call him, I ask him for things, he doesn't return. He's never available. 2 times I've been in his office. Mr. Perilou was there once. Another time he excused himself.
Okay, that's not what you said a few minutes ago. You bashed someone for taking their earned time off.
No, I'm not. I just want to know why he's not at the meeting, because I
believe it's inappropriate, and I
he
believe,
has a space on the agenda, and I'm asking, why do we have a space with his name?
I understand what you asked him.
And what I'm
If that
saying
was
is
approved by
that
the
the reason
chairman-
that I'm not hearing his name is because he was in an LSU game, he had a late flight. These are
Again,
just the-
there you go again. If his time off, if he was excused from this meeting by this chairman, then that is enough. If he is excused from this meeting because he is ill and has his time off, that is enough. Just like any of these other employees, they should
I'm
not
just
be
asking
in
for
a public
transparency.
forum and
You have his
criticized
report.
for
That's
using their
transparency
time off.
at the maximum.
And if Mr. Bagala has something to tell you, I would hope that he would address your inappropriate behavior. It's not right.
Let's keep order in here, please.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir, Mr. Jones.
I think, Mr. Bourgeois, you need to go to the chairman before you can request anything from the legislative auditor. You don't go directly to the legislative auditor, you go to the chairman. That's the protocol.
All right, any other gripes, complaints, compliments?
I just want to tell Mr. Jones, these 2 gentlemen right here are the ones that told me to go straight to him. I went straight to him, and I'm just,
After you checked with the chairman, that's what they
Mr.
did.
LaFont.
When did I
And that's
tell you
what
to
I
go
do.
straight to him? Well, I don't know when I would tell you to go straight to him. But once again, Mr. Bagala has a legislative training right now in Alexandria. He missed the last time, phase 1, and they had phase 2 and 3 training, but you can't go to 2 and 3 until you attend the 1. So this was the only time they had a 1, so he had to attend it. His immediate supervisor approved it, and he allowed it. So I don't see any issue with it. I just think you have beef with Mr. Bagala.
It sounds like an axe to grind, to be honest,
And I
sir.
think he's doing a great job.
Anyone else?
He certainly does a lot more than our last legislative auditor.
A lot more.
All right, moving on to Section M, Legal Advisor Report. We could probably use that about now. Being none. Y'all done? Section N, public wishing to address the council. No one. Section O, any further discussion tonight in this meeting? Being none, can you move to adjourn, Mr. Groh? Can we get a second? Second by Mrs. Esposito. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Meeting is adjourned at 8:48 p.m.